It is quite early on a Monday morning. This is the Morning Bullring here on Studio 51. I'm Bob Dillner, Cody Geyer with us here in the house once again, second straight week.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to have you back. I saw you reaching for the button already there.
Hey, I taught after I pressed the button, so I don't have to put $1 in the
Not
jar.
yet. How many dollars last week?
I think 3 or something
3.
like that. I didn't
Where's
count.
the money? I don't see it in the Hyperco coil springs that we have here on the desk.
Well, they just came in last week.
Okay, we didn't have them yet. Darn it!
That was a good save.
Oh,
Cody.
that was.
Very
He
good
was on
save.
top of the game. Mark Keeler also in the house. You all washed up from Virginia Motor Speedway this past week?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's because it's such a nice facility. I didn't get dirty at all.
Yeah, that's true.
I was telling Cody when we set up, I said, this is going to be the cleanest that our inside equipment has ever been after a dirt track. So,
Yeah, with the
never
exception of one thing, and I will say this. The man standing next to you right now.
Makeup boy.
Yeah, makeup boy there. Blaze Dillner, my son, with us as well on the Morning Bullring, and it looked like he had like eyeliner on because the dust, there wasn't much of it, but it was so fine it kind of got caught, right underneath your eye. And I was picking on him, and then when I got home at 6:15 or 6:30 a.m., I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh man, I look like David Lee Roth as well.
So you went from David Hasselhoff to David Lee Roth.
That's right.
In 1 week.
Tom
That's pretty
Ryan.
good.
Tom Ryan. Yeah. You're gonna get yours someday. Revenge is coming down the pike at some point. By the way, happy Father's Day, Tom.
Happy Father's Day to you and all the fathers out there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And to my dad, because I forgot to text him yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and happy birthday to my brother. I forgot to text him yesterday, too. So if they're
Jeez.
watching, I'm going to kill 2 birds right here.
And then you didn't even go up to visit them.
No, I didn't.
Way to go. Jeez, Cody. Can't you teach him a lesson or two?
Hey, it's all up to him. I can't control other people's actions.
Did you wish old Jim happy Father's Day?
Yes, and I also wished Bill a happy Father's Day.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. See, he's on top of it here this morning. So what'd you think? Virginia Motor Speedway, did you have fun?
Oh, yeah, one of the nicest dirt tracks I've ever been to. I mean, put on a good show and got to see dirt late models, which I don't get to see very often.
Yeah, exactly. You're more of an open wheel dirt boy from Indiana. But I tell you what, those dirt late models with all that horsepower, they put on a show.
Oh, yeah. When I saw the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is going to be at Kokomo, I got really excited and marked it down as one race I really want to go to this year.
Yeah, us too. We kept on telling our producer at MAV TV that we really wanted to go to Kokomo. I mean, who doesn't want to go to Kokomo? It's in a song, right?
Well, we were just
Come
in
on, sing
Jamaica,
it.
so.
Sing it, Tom.
Bermuda, Bahamas, come on, pretty mama.
Wow.
Yeah, that's getting clipped out for sure.
Oh my. And of course we had the big ARCA Midwest Tour event yesterday at the Milwaukee Mile. That was a lot of fun to have on speed51.com, and we'll be talking about that all this morning. We'll be talking about Fast Track and Ultimate at Virginia Motor Speedway. We'll be talking about a whole load of things, honestly. We'll have Austin Nason on the program, Brandon Overton, the 2 big winners at those. Carson Ferguson also won. But plenty of other racing going on as well all over the country. So we'll be talking about all of that on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. And, of course, we have a little contest going on that we'll fill you in on with Hyperco here during the Morning Bullring. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets to I think it's the New England Short Track Showdown, isn't it? Isn't that what it's titled?
I'm trying to read it here.
It's at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. I always screw up the title.
New
No, I
England
didn't.
Short Track Showdown.
Woo-hoo!
You got it right.
I got it right. Bob Guptill, Mike Twist, and that organization actually putting on a great show at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This coming weekend, we're going to be giving away 2 tickets. So here's what you do. Share this Facebook Live post, and you'll be eligible to win something. Maybe the 2 tickets to the New England Short Track Showdown. Maybe something else that we're going to talk to you about here on the Morning Bullring. But I'm just excited to be back. Old Mamba was with you last week. He had his illegal product placement on the set here, Mamba. I saw that, Mamba. Be careful. Not a paid sponsorship. Got to rein that boy in from time to time.
He needs to show his prowess and turn that into a sponsorship.
That's
for us.
right.
That's what he needs to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, both for himself and us.
Yeah, well, more for us. But
That's
yeah.
right. Absolutely. But again, if you take a look at the speed51.com site, you'll see highlights to just oodles of stuff right now. Onboard videos with some of the drivers, Luke Fenhouse, video highlights from the USA 100 at Virginia Motor Speedway, both for the ultimate brand of super late model racing, as well as fast track. You'll see stories, replays from the Milwaukee Mile and Virginia Motor Speedway. I'm just kind of looking at the slider as it goes by right now. Paulie Schaefer, by the way, an onboard look from him as well. And we always love Paulie Schaefer, don't we?
Yeah, one of the best personalities in all of asphalt super late model racing.
There's the site as it stands right now, that onboard footage. We'll go back to the top, actually, because we want to see the slider. Slider is the prettiest thing about everything there. Take a look at that. All that information about everything that went on this weekend, and obviously a lot of good events coming up as well. Pro late models in action at the Fairgrounds Speedway Nashville this coming week. Coming up, we got the Redbud 400 and Anderson Speedway. That's in July. And then in 2 weeks, the Summer Showdown at Evergreen in Washington. I know we're all looking forward to that. Old Alec Jorgensen is going to be going out to the state of Washington.
Oh, yeah, I'm jealous of him. It's always been a race I've wanted to go to.
Me too.
I mean,
How does he get that gig?
Well, we all have to go someplace else.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do something out at Wenatchee, the Super Oval.
That'd be cool.
Later on this year.
You still want to go to Montana too?
I am. In fact, on our car ride home, I don't know if it was Blaze I was talking to or whether it was Tom Ryan, because we left. You spoiled prima donnas, stayed in a hotel room. We drove all the way home and got home at like 6:15, 6:30. And yes,
You had 3 people that could drive though. In
I
fairness.
drove.
Well, that was your choice though.
Yeah, I'm not going to trust anybody else to drive my truck overnight. If I'm going off the road, I'm going off the road.
That's a good point.
I did once. I did the, I had to wake back up.
Gotta love those rumble strips.
Yes, thank goodness for those rumble strips. Although I did have a rental car this past weekend that was kind of funky. I had a Toyota Camry. Camrys are really sharp-looking cars, but it has all that automatic stuff. And, it's to prevent distracted driving or if you fall asleep or whatever. But I didn't like it because what it does is it screws you up, okay? So, like, me, I'm a race car driver, right? Okay, so I'll cut the corners and hit the apexes and stuff, and it knows where the lines are. So when you get to the lines, it not only starts beeping, but it also fights you with the wheel,
Yeah.
okay? Well, what if you're trying to avoid something? I mean, yes, you can, turn past it, but you have to put more effort to turn past it. So it really screwed with me.
Yeah, I had one of those when I flew into Columbus coming down to meet you, and where is it, Brownstown, I think, or wherever
Yes.
we were that weekend. But, the same thing, and it took me forever to figure out how to shut that off because it screwed me up. I was afraid I was going to oversteer into it, and then it was going to shut off. And, I mean, I get the technology and the safety, but, man, that can really be dangerous.
I'll tell you what, let's get you caught up with all that's going on in the world of short track racing. Here's the news with the Bullet, Blaze Dillner.
Yesterday, 2 races took place on a Father's Day. Austin Nason added another big ARCA Midwest Tour win to his resume Sunday after taking home the checkered flag at the Milwaukee Mile. A late race pass of Dan Fredrickson proved to be vital. Also, a late move to put on fresh tires with 20 to go.
Tires, son, is what wins races. Okay, that's the bottom line. And it didn't prove positive for Ty Majeski, who also took tires late, but it certainly did for Austin Nason. So big congratulations to him. We'll have him on the show just before the top of the hour here on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco.
You know what was the coolest part about Milwaukee yesterday?
What?
All the fan support at the track.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we're going to have, we might secretly dial Zach Evans a little later on. We might let him sleep a little bit, but we might dial him in and talk to him here on the Morning Bullring. He was one of our representatives leading the troops up at the Milwaukee Mile.
The Pass North Series raced at Speedway 55 yesterday, and it was Derek Griffith who took home the win after passing Mike Hopkins with 20 laps to go.
55, 51, or 95? Which one was that?
95.
51.
51.
of all numbers to get wrong on a Monday morning.
Yeah,
I believe it was.
That's okay. The Speedway 95 is in Maine, right?
Yep.
And Speedway
51 is the former Riverside Speedway.
Yeah,
in
Groveton.
New Hampshire,
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we got to bust your chops a little bit.
Rookie.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, the race that I was at this weekend, the Ultimate Super Late Model Series, along with the Fast Track Series, put on a show at Virginia Motor Speedway Saturday night. After a thrilling photo finish, Brandon Overton, an emotional Brandon Overton, paid tribute to a friend and a crew member while celebrating his $20,000 win at the Ultimate Super Late Model Series USA 100.
Big Sexy, or as James Essex likes to call him, Slim Sexy, because he's lost about like 25, 30 pounds from one season to the next.
Also at the same night in Virginia Motor Speedway, Fast Track points leader Carson Ferguson took home the win on the final turn after the leader blew a tire.
I don't know if I like Wesley Outland's nickname for him. What did he call him the other night? The new kid or something like that?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I'm not digging it. Not digging it. What is it?
A rookie stripe.
That's his
Ro-
rookie. His
oh,
rookie stripe.
He's getting his
right
rookie.
there.
There you go. John Force did that to me one time, so that's okay. That's okay. You'll never live it down. What Speedway? What?
51, right?
Carson Ferguson, Little Fergie, I call him. Little Fergie.
I like that nickname.
There you go. That's better than what Wesley came out with. He'll be back next week. You'll have to deal with him next week.
That'll be fun. Also,
Yeah.
June 24th, next Monday is my birthday.
Oh boy, I might have
And
to
how
come in
old
for
are you
that.
going to be?
21.
21 years old for young Cody Geyer out of Indiana. Anyway, continue.
The Pro Late Model Series had a pair of races in the Deep South this weekend. On Friday night, it was Bubba Pollard who took home the win at Five Flags after he employed a little bit different of a strategy than he's used to, choosing patience over aggression.
Bubba Pollard, Bubba, going to be on the show here this morning on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. So that's going to be good fun. Always talking to Bubba. He and his wife expecting their second child here just shortly, I believe.
Should be soon.
Yeah, real
I've got
soon.
one question for him when he calls in, too.
Uh-oh.
I want to know how he pulls off that pass on the outside for the lead, because he's the only person I've ever seen do it the way he does it in 3 and 4. And if you didn't see the race on the Speed 51 network, you need to go watch the highlights, because to see a pass like that on the outside at Five Flags, it was incredible.
In a Pro Late model, nonetheless. Got to keep that momentum up with that less horsepower.
It was awesome to watch.
All Bubba, getting it done.
And then in the second of the Pro Late Model races, it was Colby Howard on Saturday taking home the win at Montgomery, continuing to ride sort of a hot streak.
Colby Howard, that's impressive. Beat Bubba Pollard.
Yeah, 2 in a row at the Show Me the Money series at Montgomery. Also had a strong run going Friday night before issues put him back towards the latter half of the top 10 late in the race.
Here's the key. Anthony Campy Racing. That machine is just absolutely stellar. And Anthony Campy Racing, in just about a half a decade, has come to the forefront and is a prominent force to be reckoned with at any racetrack that number 81 goes to.
Doesn't matter who it is. I mean, Cole Anderson was really good in the car for a while. Now we see Gio Bramani. Colby Howard saw Sammy Smith win down at New Smyrna. I mean, team's on fire.
And we'll see Gio Bramani this weekend at the Southern Super Series race at Five Flags Speedway. That race will be part of your Speed 51 premium subscription. So if you're a premium subscriber, you'll get to watch the race Friday night at Five Flags Speedway.
The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series had a triple header this weekend. It was Kyle Bronson who took home the win Thursday night at Fayetteville, Mike Marlar who took home the win Friday night at Cherokee, and it was Hudson O'Neill who grabbed the win on Saturday at Smoky Mountain.
The new deal, Hudson O'Neill, getting it done.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be a big star to come here in
He's
Dirt Late
already a big star. 3 wins to his credit this year on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. He just needs to find a little bit more consistency. I believe, probably in 2020, the new deal is going to be a title contender indeed.
Chandler Smith took home the checkered flag in the ARCA Menards Series Saturday night at Madison International Speedway after pushing his teammate Michael Self out of the way with only a handful of laps left.
That was interesting. And here's the deal. It was funny because both of those cars are under the Venturini Motorsports stables, right? Okay. So you knew there was going to be a little bit of infighting. Now, Billy was, the proper team manager like he did. He went over and he calmed everybody down right away and said, let's not say anything stupid. Okay, Shannon Rush, Michael Self's crew chief, and Michael, they were, political, but at the same time, they got their point across that they weren't happy with Chandler Smith. But how could you blame Chandler Smith? Chandler did it in the best way that anybody could as a 16-year-old. He didn't get him in the middle of the corner, hit him in the left rear, and spin him around. He didn't do it vindictively. He didn't take him out of the race. He did it basically, got on his rear bumper at the start-finish line, and when Michael lifted, Chandler didn't, pushed him ever so slightly just up the racetrack, ducked underneath, and got the victory. Wouldn't you do the same thing? I would.
On NASCAR's off weekend, a couple of drivers still managed to find victory lane. Ryan Preece won in a modified at Stafford, and Kyle Larson won in the All-Star Sprints race at Attica Raceway Park in Ohio.
Young Money getting it done. He loves that Ohio Speed Week, doesn't he?
Yeah, he wins at least 3 races, well, at least every year during Ohio Speed Week.
Almost won last night. Dale Blaney got the victory last night, but he had to fend off Kyle Larson to get that victory.
Yeah, it was a great 3-way battle between Blaney and Larson, plus Gio Scelzi.
Selzy getting it done. And by the way, Priest, that's pretty cool too. Went back home.
That's all the news for right now.
Oh, that's it? You like that?
Yeah, I like the
Very good.
I think he did really good.
The Bullets. Turn around. Turn, there you go. He's got the yellow stripe on.
Yep.
Listen, Speedway 95, 51, 32, 38. It's just too much.
Don't forget 417.
Yeah, 417, which is in Punta Gorda.
It's in Punta Gorda. The Highway 417 in Florida, though, is about 100 miles north of there. The 417 is because that's the day they signed the lease, was April 17th.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, so, but it confuses some people because 417 is a highway that goes around Orlando that's nowhere near Punta Gorda.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
It's all about the numbers.
John, we appreciate your comment already this morning. Congrats to Colby Howard winning the Show Me the Money race at Montgomery. Make sure you send in your questions, your comments, or so forth, whether it be on Twitter or our Facebook Live post. The Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. Ben Watkins, dirt late model driver, tuning in this morning as well, as he normally does. He's one of our biggest fans, by the way. Huge fan.
Always cool to have drivers as fans.
Absolutely. And he says, I had a blast at Virginia Motor Speedway this weekend. It was an awesome facility. Indeed, it was. Got to hang out with the Sawyers and Dave C. and DJ Irvin and Stan Lester and everybody there. And it was a good show. And it's just quite the build-up for the big Fast Track World Championship, paying $50,000 to the winner of the Pro Late Model race in mid-September at Virginia Motor Speedway.
Oh, that's going to be a really good show. They're expecting a really high car count for the Fast Track World Championships. Going to be cool to see if Logan Roberson can repeat as Fast Track World Champion.
And there's a lot of stuff going on as well here. What we're doing with Hyperco, and I'm going to read it so I can get it right here, is they have a little thing going on with us as the presenting sponsor, and we appreciate their support. Simply visit their webpage, hypercoils.com. You're going to go to the Contact Us portion of that website, and from there, racers can fill out their information and include where they race and what they race. So whether they compete in late models, modifieds, dirt, or even a Legends car, Hyperco has products for you. For each of the next 2 episodes, this one and the next one, the Morning Bullring, Hyperco will give away a set of 4 springs to 1 lucky winner. So make sure you go there, register now. That winner could be any racer in the country as long as they fill out the contact form. With that said, racers can go the distance to increase their odds at winning. All they have to do is go on social media, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and post a picture of themselves and their car with the hashtag Hyperco and the Morning Bullring, and tag Hyperco to let them know that you are watching. Fill that out for a chance to win that prize. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. It's cool to see Hyperco come on board with the Morning Bullring and give back to the drivers.
Absolutely. Are you excited? I have a hard time figuring out if you're excited or not.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He's kind of like Matt Kenseth. You never knew if Matt Kenseth, unless he was beating up Jeff Gordon, whether or not he was excited or not. Honestly, it's like Cody's like, yeah.
Yeah, even when he went to, even when he tried to get hit by Carl Edwards, not tried, but almost got hit by Carl Edwards. You didn't know if he was upset or angry. He was just like, was that real or not?
Yeah, that was in the middle of my interview back in the day.
Yes, it was.
Shows you how old I am. Absolutely. But are we going to get Brandon Paul on
We
the
have Brandon Paul.
Hyperco hotline? Brandon, I want to know one thing. A lot of buildup to yesterday's big ARCA Midwest Tour event at the Milwaukee Mile. You were tending to our customers on our live stream. What was the reaction from those people that were watching, from the people in attendance, and what did you think of what you saw yesterday from the atmosphere of that event?
I thought it was just all around. Everything I heard was fantastic. I mean, the crowd, a lot of positive comments about how many people came out to support the return of racing to the Milwaukee Mile. And then the racing itself, I thought was really great. Sometimes you get to those mile tracks, you put short track cars out there. Sometimes it gets spread out and whatnot, but there was racing throughout the field. I mean, our cameramen did a great job finding the action, but I mean, whether it was a battle for second, a battle for fifth, or somewhere within the top 10, there were battles all day long. And then what I really enjoyed, I mean, I was really into it watching from home, was the different strategies that played out, because you had a couple guys that came in during that first caution, including Dan Fredrickson, and they came in, they got their tires early, but then you had someone like Ty Majeski who ended up just shredding his right rear tire, because they ended up going 79 laps before he came in for that second round of pit stops. And it really, the way that it played out with the differing strategies made it very interesting, because you had 20 laps to go, and I think most people watching knew that Ty Majeski probably had the fastest car yesterday at the Milwaukee Mile, and he was restarting like 17th. So, I mean, all eyes were on Majeski, and then Austin Nason just kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't really seem to be a factor throughout much of the weekend, and he even admitted that in Victory Lane. But he hit it right. His strategy was right, and he came through with a huge win for racing in that region.
Yeah, I was going to actually go back to my text messages from yesterday and put you on the spot a little bit, because I think you said the only thing that's going to beat Majeski is tech or a mechanical issue, 17th to 1st in 20 laps. BP, you were wrong.
I'll admit I was wrong, but I will 100% stand by that. And I think everybody that was watching probably thought the same thing. I mean, the way he blistered through that field in the first 20 laps was insane. I think I forgot who it was, but basically I texted somebody. I'm like, okay, now you see what Majeski just did? That's what Eddie McDonald normally does at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Is just, I mean, he turns it on and goes from back to the front so quickly at that racetrack. But no, I 100% stand by what I said. And I do think if Majeski would have got a caution even 10 laps earlier, if they would have had a caution, I think we're talking about Ty Majeski winning today. I think he did have the fastest race car, but as we have come to learn, the fastest race car doesn't always win the race.
Yeah, and then you said Majeski came from 17th to 1st. I mean, he was fast qualifier, starting 17th. So what did you think about the big invert the race had?
Well, I know Majeski he had some sort of, like, he wasn't bashing it or anything. He was kind of joking about it, but he put something on social media about the invert. And I knew, I mean, you obviously knew there was going to be an invert, but when I saw that it was 6, which was the dice roll, plus 11, so the invert was going to be whatever the dice roll was plus 11, which is, I mean, I think it's awesome from an entertainment perspective. I mean, a lot of these races, you have a guy go out, set fast time, and dominate a lot of the race. I would rather see, and I know the racers don't probably enjoy it as well because it makes things difficult, but I mean, watching Majeski go from 17th to 1st definitely added to yesterday's show and made it a more entertaining race for the fans that were there and the fans that were watching on Speed 51. So, I mean, if we're kind of talking inverts here, I'm all for an invert. I do, like I said, I do think it adds a ton to the entertainment value, because if Majeski just started on the pole, I mean, he was just going to get out and he would have dominated most of that race as it is. So yeah, I'm a fan of the invert 17. It's a lot, but yeah.
I want to say good morning to Tim Walters. Gave us a shout out on social media, as well as Chad Sharon. Good job to Speed 51. So says Chad. Thank you sometimes we wonder, like, is anybody listening? So we appreciate it. Make sure you share this post here this morning, our Facebook Live post, to be eligible to win maybe a couple of different prizes. One of them is New England Short Track Showdown tickets this weekend at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Before we talk about that, Brandon, I want to ask you about a New Englander. What happened to old Eddie McDonald? I thought he was the master of the mile.
He honestly was decent for going there the first time and not really having a notebook. Plus, it was a brand new race car that he was racing. I think it was a brand new Pathfinder. I mean, I thought he held his own. People knew he was there. He got a ton of airtime on the broadcast because he seemed to be one of those guys that was constantly locked into a battle, whether it was for second or fifth or eighth or wherever he was on the track. He definitely was part of the show, and you knew he was there. So I thought that was good for Eddie Mack. But going back to what I kind of alluded to earlier, I think with them breaking that car in at Milwaukee, and then they're heading to New Hampshire this weekend. I mean, if he was as fast as he was there and was able to compete with some of those guys, I do expect Eddie to be pretty dang strong when they head to the Magic Mile in New Hampshire this weekend.
I'll tell you what, we're seeing some of the highlights right now. Nice to see the 54 of Matt Craig go up there, the 48 of Preston Peltier. They had a great field of super late models at the Magic Mile. Casey Roderick went up there, and the Donnie Wilson prepared Rowdy Manufacturing Machine. It's just really neat to see racing back at the mile the way it should be, honestly. And I love this fact because I was up there back in the day. I did the live event for the final ASA National Tour event there. So we hope that this tradition continues because the stands were packed. Everybody loved being there. The racers seemed to really enjoy it. The racing looks great. We're seeing Ty Majeski go around the racetrack right now on the iRacing.com number 91, and it's really neat to see racing at the the Milwaukee Mile. I almost said the Magic Mile. We're going there this weekend. But that mile racetrack, it just provides for some great racing.
Yeah, I mean, being from Indiana, we just lost the mile at the Indiana State Fairgrounds where they have the Hoosier 100.
That's dirt.
but like my point is that it's cool to see a mile racetrack, an historic one at that, be back racing.
What were you going to say, Brandon?
And you guys mentioned the word dirt, so this is just your weekly reminder that Mark Keeler hates dirt.
Oh my God!
Today's show.
You're killing me, Brandon.
But another show this weekend, I know we're going to be talking about it more throughout the show, but the USA 100 at Virginia Motor Speedway, I watched that Saturday night. Great response from dirt late model fans all around the country tuning in. I think we got up to, I was keeping a tally as we went on, I think we ended up with 25 states, Ontario, Quebec, New Zealand, and Australia. So we had fans from all around the world and all around the country tuning into that race, and man, what a finish did that end up being, coming off of turn 4 with Eckert coming to the checkered flag drag race with Brandon Overton. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that. Just a quality show, and I know watching from home, and I know Cody, and both you and Cody were there, but watching from home, I know that definitely made me want to eventually get to Virginia Motor Speedway. Just a top-notch facility from everything I saw, and the racing was great during that ultimate feature.
You might need to head there mid-September for the Fast Track World Championship. That's going to be a lot of fun with $50,000 on the line to the winner of that pro late model race. We're actually going to get the video of that finish. Actually, that's not the finish. That's the middle of the race, but some great racing all the way throughout. Benji Hicks had a good show. I mean, it was just stellar field of late models. The 22 of Greg Satterley. Up front, Brandon Overton and Rick Eckert. They just had a great show of it. Is this the end of the race? No, it's not. Okay, 4 to go, 5 to go. Tell you what, let's get off there. We just want to get to the end of the race and show you the end of the race because this is just absolutely fantastic, honestly. We're going to show you the photo finish. What was the difference
.119.
Yeah, .119.
That's incredible. I mean, if you looked at it, depending on where they were, and here it is right here. Check this out. Photo finish. Rick Eckert, he had it, and then he lost it by the line. That's incredible. Incredible that happened. I want to see that again because that's the first time not on camera that I actually, saw that finish right there. And Overton, Rick Eckert is tracking him down at the end of the race. Here it is. It was a 60-lap race for the Ultimate Super Late Models at Virginia Motor Speedway as part of the USA 100. $20,000 on the line to the winner. Watch Eckert here. Eckert gets the run, and right about here, he's ahead of Overton. Overton with the momentum just gets him on the line. You can see those highlights from the entire race on the Speed 51 network as a premium subscriber. And by the way, what you saw from the Milwaukee Mile, that was our live stream that went on there, and you can check out the replay. Those highlights from that event will be up on Tuesday on Speed 51. Speaking of another mile racetrack, how much are you looking forward to Bob Guptill's New England Short Track Showdown this weekend?
I'm looking forward to it a lot. I mean, I feel like I haven't been to a racetrack in a while. I'm trying to think when the last time I was at a racetrack, so I'm looking forward to getting back there. And this year, I mean, love the Granite State Pro Stock Series and what Mike Parks does, but it is going to be cool to see the Pro All-Star Series return there. Travis Benjamin, Derek Griffith, who just picked up the win this past weekend. Of course, Eddie McDonald. You're going to have all those guys, but I think we all know at the same time that the show at New Hampshire is normally the modifieds. Whether it's the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, the Valenti Modified Racing Series, whatever it is, the modifieds just have that history of putting on fantastic racing at the Magic Mile. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we see a strong field go out there and really put on a show for the fans.
And I know we didn't have a great field of modifieds this past weekend for that particular series and so forth, but I think everybody getting primed and ready for the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So I'm expecting a big car count for that brand, that style of modified racing at the New England Short Track Showdown at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Share this Facebook post this morning, this Facebook Live post for the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to the New England Short Track Showdown at the Magic Mile. Brandon Paul, we appreciate you for being on the show.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you later, guys.
You got it. Brandon Paul, the editor of Speed51.com, and always does a good job. This past weekend, didn't even get to a racetrack, but watched plenty of racing, as everybody can always do on Speed 51 by virtue of all of our live streams.
Yeah, it's always good to have that video network. You can watch dirt late models, like from this past weekend. You got super late models from Milwaukee. You also got modifieds of every kind, well, just about every kind, and it's a good way to spend the day.
And think about this. Today at 5 p.m., Summer Thunder presented by PFC Brakes. All the live streams in just 2.5 months. That will be announced today. Oh, we got it in store for you. More than 50 races. You'll be able to check out the schedule as of right now, 5 p.m. today on Speed 51. We'll be right back. We got Austin Nason, right?
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
Just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The Ultimate Surfers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the Unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Mark Keeler getting fancy here with the little wipe that he had right there. The morning Bullring.
That was Tom. That was all Tom.
Presented by Hyperco this morning. I'm Bob Dillner, Cody Geyer alongside of me. And you ready to talk a little bit more about the Milwaukee Mile?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We're excited about it. And on the Hyperco hotline now, I believe we have the winner from yesterday's race at the Milwaukee Mile. Austin Nason, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
How pumped up are you? Are you? Did we wake you this morning to come on the morning Bullring, or are you alive and kicking from partying all night?
I'm alive. I got to go to work here in a little bit. So it was a fun race yesterday. I'm just excited to come out with the win.
Obviously, that Joe Shear Classic victory last year, that was very important to you. But to win at the Milwaukee Mile with all that history, and for all of you people in the Midwest that understand that history, how important and why was that to you?
It was a big race, and it was important. I mean, it was the first race back there in 5 years. We went there for 3 years in a row or something like that a couple of years ago. So it was real important for us to come back. And last time I was there, I destroyed the race car, so it was nice to go back and redeem myself.
So, yeah, you got to the lead on pit strategy there late, and then you had Ty Majeski coming after you. What went into that call, and how were you able to hold off the field?
Yeah, we knew we had to wait till the last caution there to put tires on, so that's what we did, and we were good there. I think we got up to fifth before we put tires, and we just rode, and we got ahead of everyone. And once I got to Dan, I ran as hard as I possibly could. I knew someone was going to try to come up, so we got a big lead there, and we were able to hold them all off.
I want to know, how worried were you with how strong Ty Majeski was, and was your team, making you aware of where he was on the racetrack in terms of having to battle him possibly for the victory?
I wasn't that worried because, halfway through the race, he fell way back. I think he was all the way back to 20th at one point, and we were up to 5th. So I knew we had a pretty good race car there to maybe just hold him off. I knew if he got to us, we'd be able to maybe just hold him off or race him for the win. So, and they really didn't tell me where he was. I wasn't really worried about him at that point.
Austin, did you by any chance happen to look at the crowd? And I understand it was a great crowd at the Milwaukee Mile yesterday. Greg McCarnes, Bob Sargent, his staff, and we're looking at some of the video yesterday. And remember, you're going to see some empty grandstands in turn one and so forth. This is a huge capacity grandstand. They held NASCAR races here. But I understand the atmosphere was pretty electric. As a driver, how would you describe it?
Oh, it was absolutely packed. Yeah, like you said, you're going to see some empty grandstands. But for the first race back, there was a lot of people there. We had autograph sessions over in the back side of the grandstand, and I tried to get over, and you could barely walk through the back side of the grandstand. There was just people everywhere, and then it was pretty cool during driver intros. Everyone was cheering. There had at least be 8,000 people there. It was just awesome for the first race back in Milwaukee.
We're watching you go after Dan Fredrickson here, and what is it like running a mile racetrack like that in a super late model where we normally see them on anywhere from a quarter mile to a half mile?
It's crazy. There was the speed difference there was quite a bit different once you put tires on, so it was crazy running people down, but it's definitely fun. I can't wait to hopefully get back there next year.
So you came close to winning Midwest Tour races in previous years until you got the Joe Shear Classic last year. Then now here at Milwaukee, what do you think was the point that made everything start to click for your team?
We just been working on these race cars. I think the Joe Shear really started everything, gave us momentum, gave us confidence, and then it's just carried on from there.
And then last year, you came up just points short from winning the Midwest Tour Championship. How's that motivated you going into this season?
Yeah, definitely gonna keep that in my back of my mind. We just fell a little bit short there at the end of the year, but we're hoping to run a little bit stronger here at the beginning of the year and just keep the momentum rolling throughout the year.
You know, what is it like being part of the ARCA Midwest Tour? Because Greg McCartans and I talk from time to time, and it seems like it has a little bit more of an old school flavor. You know, the racers don't have that hey, we're here to make a name for ourselves and move on. There's great rivalries. There's a lot of great competitors. It's kind of old school. What are your thoughts on competing, not just for the title, but within the ARCA Midwest Tour? How do you enjoy that?
It's fun. Like you said, it is old school. You got a bunch of guys just racing, and we all can talk to each other before the race, and then come race time, we'll race each other hard, and we can go have a beer after the race. It's just everyone respects each other up here. It's a great series to race in. Greg does a good job promoting it, getting us to the racetrack, and everyone in it is they do a good job.
So how many beers did you have after yesterday's victory at the Milwaukee Mile?
I had to drive home, but we had a couple last time when we got back.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And by the way, what do you do? Where do you have to go to work here shortly?
Yeah, I got to go to work for my dad. I took the last 2 weeks off building a race car, so I guess I better get back to work.
I forgot about that. I did read that in our story on speed51.com. Brand new race car, built it in 2 weeks. When was that decision made, and did you think you were nuts in the process of building it for the Milwaukee Mile in just a short period of time?
The decision was probably made back at the end of March there to build a new car. Left-hander got it done. They did an amazing job with it. Can't thank them enough. Geez, I built a brand new motor for it. Yeah. It was just crazy just trying to get it done. Like I said, last time we were there, we built a brand new race car for there, and it came home destroyed. So to go back with a new one and win was pretty amazing.
Now, you ventured out of the upper Midwest for the past year or so with like the Red Bud and the Snowball Derby. Are there any more races planned like that?
Yeah, no, that's definitely our plan. We wanted to run the 400 at the beginning of the year. That got rained out. Our plan is to run that here at the end of the year. I think we're going to probably go back down south for most of the big races down there.
So with the Snowball Derby moving to the controlled caution, you went down, you were going down nonetheless last year with live pit stops and so forth in a non-controlled nature. What does that do for you in terms of your thoughts on this year?
That's definitely going to help us guys up here. It's hard to go down there and get a pick through. So we can just take our guys down there. And we're used to running these races up here where we got controlled pit stops, just like the Milwaukee, where we can kind of predict when and where we want to pit, how we want to pit, what we're going to do with tires, fuel. So it definitely should be in our favor when we go back down there.
How much does that save you in terms of money to spend towards that event? Whether you buy a pit crew or you're training or you're getting equipment or whatever. How much money do you think that saves you?
It probably saves us. I'd say at least $5,000, $6,000, because you got to pay the pit crew. You got to put extra stuff on the race car up here just because we run wide sides just to get it ready for down there. It is a cost savings. I'm glad that they gave it a shot just to try it. It works great up here, so hopefully it works good down there.
Looking at some video right now of you actually winning at Madison International Speedway last year in the Joe Shear Classic. Love Madison. I was there Friday night, by the way. Everybody asked me, why aren't you going over to the Milwaukee Mile? I had to be at Virginia Motor Speedway. So from Wisconsin to Virginia, I went from Friday to Saturday. But Cody, that was a good race last year.
Oh, yeah. I saw the highlights on the network just days after the race, and it was a really good show. So, going back to the controlled cautions, they started the controlled cautions up in the Midwest with Greg McCartans. Do you think that gives you an advantage going into the Snowball Derby?
Definitely. Like I said, it definitely plays into our favor. We ran a lot of races up here. We've won races up here on controlled cautions. It works out good. It's a good procedure. It still gives the fans the feel of the pit stops. So it'll be an advantage for us guys from the Midwest to go down there.
Okay, Austin, I'm going to put you on the spot here. By virtue of your big victory at the Milwaukee Mile, you are now invited to the Speed 51 Super Select at Lucas Oil Raceway on September 7th. Will you accept that invitation like you were going to last year?
Yes, we'll be there.
Yes. Yes. How excited. I mean, what do you think about that event? Honestly, I will tell you when we announced it, I didn't know if we were crazy or brilliant. And I got a text from Greg McCarn saying, good idea, no holds barred, winner take all event. And we didn't know, whether you racers were going to support it. Obviously, there's tires, a set of tires and so forth, a free entry that goes with it, which really is kind of, what you would win anyway if you started the event. But what are your thoughts on that event?
It's amazing. I mean, you guys put on a good show. I was excited to go down there last year, but weather had different plans there. So I'm excited we got a win to be accepted back this year. And it was on the list no matter what. I think we were going to go down there. Even if we didn't win a race, we were going to try to go down and just get in. But I think we did it the right way. So I'm excited for you guys. And it's going to be a crazy race with the winner take all. So
have you ever been to Lucas Oil Raceway or seen it or what? I mean, what are your thoughts about the place and that race going to be able to race there?
Never seen it, never been there. The only thing I got going for me is I've been there a couple times on iRacing, so hopefully that'll work.
Austin Nason, we appreciate you coming on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. Remember, go to hypercocoils.com. You can actually register there, by the way, and possibly win a set of coil springs, and that would be handy for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah. Thank you guys for having me on.
You got it. Austin Nason, big winner for the ARCA Midwest Tour event at the legendary Milwaukee Mile. You could tell he's excited. He's tired a little bit. Had to drive home to, was it Roscoe, Illinois, I believe is where he's from?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So competing for the ARCA Midwest Tour title this year. We got a lot more coming up. We're going to talk dirt. We're going to talk pavement. Short track racing, doesn't matter, dirt or pavement, and we're going to talk about it here on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. Listen to that music, suspenseful.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
It's just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The ultimate surfers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
The Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. 7:51 in the morning. Cody Geyer, Bob Dillner, Blaze Dillner, Tom Ryan, Mark Keeler, all in the house here at Studio 51. Most of us, No, all of us were at Virginia Motor Speedway that are here in the studio this morning at the USA 100 this weekend. It was a doubleheader with the Ultimate Super Late Models as well as the Fast Track Racing Series and that brand of Pro or Crate Late Model Racing. Good show on both of those divisions. The Fast Track Series, the race took a little bit longer than the Ultimate Super Late Models, but fantastic finishes on both of those races. Did you leave there, even though it was like 1:30 in the morning or whatever it was when you left? Were you still pumped up, Cody?
Oh, yeah, great racing, 2 great finishes. We had a last lap pass with the Fast Track Racing Series, and it was overall a good show.
And it was really neat because we were able to do that race live on Speed 51, not behind a paywall. And it was due to some sponsors from Virginia Motor Speedway, due to the folks from the Ultimate Super Late Models, Fast Track Racing Series, and our commitment here at Speed 51 to show you how committed we are to regionalized dirt late model racing. We don't touch the 2 national tours, but we do a lot within the regional dirt late model racing realm. And you look at the numbers, and right now between our Facebook Live and our actual live stream numbers that were, as part of our viewership, we have more than 40,000 people that tuned in to that race on Saturday night at the Virginia Motor Speedway. And the man that was in the spotlight in terms of the super late models at Virginia Motor Speedway in the USA 100, first-time caller here on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco, Brandon Overton. Brandon, good morning to you.
What's going on, Bob?
Oh, nothing much, dude. Sounds like you're a little sleepy. Did you celebrate a little bit the other night?
Yeah, like I said, it was a pretty special weekend for us, with Billy passing and all, and just, I don't know, just a lot of emotions going on. So yeah, we definitely enjoyed it. It hasn't been the best year, but I think we're maybe turning things around, headed in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, I know it has been a tough year, but you, Joey Coulter, the team owner, Harold Holly, your crew chief, very dedicated, and it was, man, I tell you what, Brandon, and I know it's been an emotional week for you, but you're one of those stoic guys. You'll laugh a little bit, and we've talked and so forth, but you really broke down in victory lane. And I know it's been a tough week for that team. How special, because of what happened and because of that loss for that team, how special was that win?
Man, I don't even really know how to put it into words. Me and Billy were really close, and I don't know, like I tell everybody, it's almost like I lost one of my brothers, so, like at the beginning of the week, I think me and Steven were talking to his brother, and he said, man, you got to go race, right? I said, yeah, no, I really don't want to. And he's like, I'm telling you, if Billy was here, that's what he'd want you to do. You got to go race. I said, well, if I'm going to go race, I'm going to go win. He'd want me to win. He was pumped up about going to Virginia. Like I said, his family was all coming. So I had like a lot of, not pressure on him, but I guess it is pressure. I just wanted to win a race for him really, really bad. And he loved that Virginia motor. So if I was going to win one, that was where I needed to win it at. Got real close Friday night at Fayetteville, and that kind of, that like irked me a little more than I was like, God dang, I was that close and didn't get it done. So, and then we went to Gareth, didn't do all that hot. I said, I think it was, just sometimes I think stuff just, it's meant to be.
That's pretty cool. It's super special when something like that can happen, and I'm really happy for you and that entire team right there. But honestly, you almost lost the win, Brandon. That was an incredible, I'm not even going to say last lap. That was an incredible final 2 corners of that race. I mean, talk to me about that.
Yeah, I didn't know really like how much tire I had left. I knew we were pushing it, but man, we were like balled, like nothing. Like the corners both rear tires, and I just couldn't make myself. I couldn't slow down. Once I had led that many laps, and I knew it was like coming down to the end, I could not slow down. Like I couldn't slow down getting into 3 or 4 down there. And one time Ecker got up underneath me leaving 2, and I drove it in there and I slid all the way across 3, and I was like, man, I just gave it away. Well, I just went back and watched the video yesterday, and I seen him slide with me. So why he slid or whatever, I don't know why, but anyway, it just happened that way. And like I said, I make it back through 1 and 2 okay, and then I get down there in 3 and 4, and I overrun it again. And I think Eckert let off like a car length before me, after watching it. And hell, I don't know, it was just crazy. Like I said, I think sometimes it's just meant to be. I beat him back to the flag barely, I don't know, man. I'm with you. I watched it and I was going, "What are you doing? Why didn't you just slow down? Like I just get in the bottom." But I couldn't. I knew what to do. I just couldn't do it. So I don't know. I was just ready to get that thing over with.
Okay, I want to know though, because I was on camera that night, and my son and I were doing the video for Speed 51, and you can see those highlights on Speed 51 right now in terms of the live stream, the replay, and so forth, and then the highlights as well for premium subscribers. But when you crossed the line and you saw him there, did you know you won?
Yeah, I could feel when we were a couple of times leaving that corner down there. I would get down a little too low and I'd spin my tires real bad, and then once I'd spin, I'd get out a little bit further, and then I would hook up again. So I was just when I seen him pass me and he was down that lane, I knew if I just stayed right there, I was gonna hit that little streak that I had been hitting leaving. And like I said, I'm glad it was there, because if not, he would have definitely beat me. And I don't know, like I knew I had beat him by a fender maybe, but like I said, it is what it is. I guess it doesn't really matter. I watched, Shepard win 125,000 last week over about the same fender, and you know what I'm saying. I mean, it is what it is. It makes it exciting for the fans, exciting for us. That's the wins that we'll always remember.
Wow, we're taking a look at your tire right now, and I didn't even realize that. Dude, there is nothing left in terms of treads on that tire.
Yeah, both of them, I'll have to send a picture to you. Both of them are like that. They're both bald, all the way bald. And I don't think I've ever finished a race with them like that without going flat. I don't know how it even still held air.
Well, you joined Joey Coulter's team here late last season. You got the Blue Dray 100 win at Cherokee, then got a couple national wins this season, and then plus Saturday night at Virginia Motor Speedway. Just tell me, working with Joey Coulter and this new team.
It's been good. It's just a little learning, not like learning, but I have to. They've raced a certain way. They've raced at a way higher level than what we race at now. So they treat this team, no different than like a NASCAR team or a Cup team. That's how this thing is ran. And I've just always raced. I was just a dirt racer, so it's ran a little different than what this is. So I've had to adjust on, having to work with Harold a lot differently than we would if, I was doing it by myself or whatever. That's just been the biggest thing for me, is just learning. It's not just for me too. It's like for him. Like we have to. The better we get of working together, the better we are. We find ourselves sometimes we kind of do the wrong thing, and then we're like, hey, if we would have just said, got back on the same page, we would have been fine. And every time we do, every time we leave and we're all working together and everything like clicks and stuff, we run good. But just sometimes, we'll miss it a little bit, and then we'll both be in two different directions. I've always worked on my car a lot, and he's always been a crew chief. So I have my way of doing things, and he has his ways of doing things. Sometimes they're on the opposite ends of each other. So that's been the hardest thing for me. But besides that, Joe and Sue have been great. Joey's been great. Couldn't ask for anybody else, better to drive for. They've been, awesome, really. Anything that we need, they try their best to get for us. They listen to me, and like I said, it's been a good deal.
And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you this from my experience. You don't want to mess with Harold Holly, okay? He can be one mean guy for sure, but I'm not going to have you talk about that. I'll just say that from my opinion. Hey, I want to know Virginia Motor Speedway. That place, I hadn't been there, in 10 years. But going up to that Sawyer family-owned racetrack, what do you think about that place? It's just immaculate. It looks gorgeous. And honestly, I know the track got rubbered up a little bit the other night, but, man, the racing was still spectacular.
Yeah, that place to me is no different from when I drive into there. I feel like I ran into Wheatland, Missouri, looks so Speedway or any place that has a crown jewel race. That's what this facility is, and that's what it looks like when you sit up there and look at it. Sometimes I wish, that some more cars would come and, I don't know if it's how big the boosters are or, with the location of it or what, but sometimes I wish, they'd have more people come and support them. I know it's tough when they put their neck out and race like that and, don't get all the support from everybody. But like I said, it was a good race, even though it rubbered up. I mean, like I said, the win by Fender, and I watched some of the crate race when I was loading my car up, and I seen it got a little exciting leaving the turn 4 down there. So that's cool. I mean, that is good.
Brandon, what are you doing for the rest of the year? I mean, what's the schedule look like? I love dirt racing because you guys could pop in and out of anywhere. So what does the schedule look like for you and Joey Coulter and Harold Holly, at least maybe for the next couple of months?
I know we're going to do we're headed to Lernerville this weekend for the Firecracker. I love that place. So I'm pretty excited to go there. And then after that, we might take a week off or so and regroup and get ready to go to do Ray Cook's deal. We're going to do the Southern Nationals deal just like I did last year. After that, we'll probably do, I'm sure we'll go to Tyler County for, their deal. Let's see what else. We got another Eldora. We got, I'm sure the Dirt Track World Championship at the end of the year. That's kind of just going to hit and miss and anything that makes sense.
I like that approach, and I like that way a lot of dirt guys do that. Have you had any thoughts whatsoever? And I know there's a couple of super late model competitors actually thinking about this. Rick Eckert was one of them on September 13th and 14th, a $50,000 to win Fast Track Racing Series event, the World Championship at Virginia Motor Speedway. Is there any thought whatsoever about wanting to get there and go after that big prize?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely sure I'm sure I'll probably be back if I had to guess. My buddy Pearl that, comes and helps me, he still has his crate car, the same crate car I run last year at the Turkey 100. I'm sure we'll probably all team up and get together and drive it again. That's kind of cool for me and him to do together and give Harold and everybody over here a little chance to get all of our stuff fresh and back up and go.
Well, Brandon, we appreciate you being on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. A big congratulations to you. I know it's been a tough time, but we'll be thinking about you. But hopefully that victory helps just a little bit because I know he's probably looking down and going, way to go, guys.
That's right. Well, thanks for having me, and y'all take care.
Brandon Overton on the Hyperco hotline here on the Morning Bullring. Good guy, great racer, very focused, very serious when he gets to the racetrack, and always fun, no matter what series he runs, whether it's, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, the Outlaws, Ultimate, you name it, Ray Cook Series. He does a great job, and it's really neat to see him, Joey Coulter and Harold Holly, have some success.
And to especially do it with the circumstances that were going on.
Absolutely, indeed, for sure. There's nothing that just makes you feel just a little bit better than the sweet taste of success in victory lane. And for us, I mean, listen, it was fantastic for us because here we are, by virtue of a few people coming together, we offer it free for people to be able to watch a little promo in terms of what you're going to see for the Fast Track World Championship at Virginia Motor Speedway in September. If you can get there, I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to say. The Sawyers have put together a fine facility. It is clean. It is beautiful. It is racy. It is very fan-friendly. It is in Virginia. It's a beautiful part of the country. You're only a couple of miles from the water. You can get some old crab cakes or crab legs or something like that. It would honestly be, for any racing fan, a great vacation. You should put it on your bucket list to be there mid-September for the Fast Track World Championship at Virginia Motor Speedway.
I mean, not even if it's not just for the race. I mean, it's a great area with a lot of history. The track is beautiful. You're going to have some great racing with the Fast Track Racing Series. I mean, I'm from Indiana, and I made it over there. And at that point, you hardly have an excuse to not go there.
Absolutely. Mark, you enjoy yourself?
I loved it. I thought it was incredible. Like you said, the facility is world class. I mean, you're not going to find. I know you talk about Wheatland, Missouri, and I think this would. I've never been there, but I would think this has to rival it. Everything is clean, but you can tell everything was done like with a purpose. It's not like they had an old racetrack that you just kind of add a thing to here and there, and everything just kind of fits where it looks like this place was planned out from the start. And it's just gorgeous. The staff, David C. and everybody out there, just were great to work with all weekend.
We're not done talking about dirt on Virginia Motor Speedway. We'll have the winner of the Fast Track Racing Series event, Carson Ferguson, on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco a little bit later on. Coming back, We're going to talk more about everything in the world of short track racing. This is the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
Just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The ultimate surfers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Hopefully you've had your cup of coffee this morning. I don't drink coffee. I would have an old Coke or maybe a little water or milk and maybe some donuts or something like that. Yes, donuts, the breakfast of champions here. Mark Killer has seen me eat a donut a time or two in the morning at the racetrack.
A time or two. At the racetrack, just here, we got OMG right down the street.
That's right. I had crumb cake this morning, by the way.
I did. I saw that, and you didn't bring any for us.
I know. But I want to say thank you to the folks from Hyperco. Hyperco, the presenting sponsor of the Morning Bullring here in the month of June. And Hyperco's got a cool little thing going on, honestly. They are giving away a set of 4 springs to one lucky winner. All you need to do is go to hypercoils.com, go to the Contact Us portion of that page. And when you do there, racers can fill out all their information, include where they race, what they race. So whether you compete in late models, modifieds, dirt, pavement, legends cars, you name it, Hyperco has products for you. For each of the next 2 episodes, the Morning Bullring and Hyperco will give away a set of 4 springs to one lucky winner. That winner could be any racer in the country as long as they fill out the contact form. With that said, remember, racers can go the distance to increase their odds at winning. All they have to do is go on social media, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and post a picture of themselves and their car with the hashtag Hyperco and also the hashtag Morning Bullring, and tag Hyperco to let them know you are watching and loving the fact that Hyperco is part of the Morning Bullring. So, without further ado, now we'll get back to the news and find out more of what's going on in the world of short track racing with my boy, Blaze Dillner.
The Dirt Car Summer Nationals kicked off this weekend, but due to weather, they were only able to get in 1 out of the 5 races scheduled. Brian Shirley won in the dirt late models, and Nick Hoffman took home the modified victory.
Mother Nature has just literally sucked in April, May, and June. And Blaze and I were going over the races this past week, and he's like, hey, what about that? I'm like, rained out. What about that? It rained out. He goes, hey, it rained out over here as well. I'm like, I know. It's so frustrating.
Especially in the Midwest. I mean, my town, Jasper, Indiana, was actually underwater last night. So
everybody okay?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, that's what I've heard. But Mother Nature's just took its toll in the Midwest.
Gotta love the Carolinas, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations to the Squirrel, Brian Shirley, and Nick Hoffman on those wins on the Hell Tour.
The World of Outlaws raced at Knoxville this weekend. Brad Sweet prevailed in a late-night bash in the Sprints division, and it was Brian Brown who took home the late model portion.
Do you know who was at that race at Knoxville over the weekend?
Who was there?
Lance DeWeese.
Really? Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a sponsorship deal going on where, like, the winning driver gets a sponsor for the Knoxville Nationals, and he's up front by a lot. So they made the trip out to Iowa, and, well, Saturday night he ran really good, ran up front most of the race, settled for a 6th-place finish.
Is he still in that Weikert Livestock number 69 machine?
Yep.
Oh, I love that race car. Love that race car. I will let you in on a little secret here. Back when I was a kid, I just fell in love with sprint car racing in terms of the Pennsylvania posse. I wanted to run all those racetracks. And I would just imagine myself in that number 69 machine. That thing is beautiful and just part of the atmosphere, the culture that is the Pennsylvania posse and that sprint car circuit.
I mean, in Indiana, we have the wingless sprint, but I'd really love to go out to Pennsylvania sometime for the World of Outlaws out there to see the Outlaws versus Posse.
I always root for the Pennsylvania posse when they go up against the Outlaws.
We talked about Bubba Pollard's patient approach for his victory Friday night at 5 Flag Speedway in the Pro Late Model division. And truly, any approach that Bubba Pollard takes, he knows how to get it done on the racetrack.
That's an understatement. The dude is just good.
Yeah, I mean, 29 to the win at Oxford last year for the 250. Then Friday night had a great pass on the outside of Connor O'Kresick.
We'll talk to Bubba Pollard here just coming up in a couple of minutes. And that is the news this morning here with the Bullet Blaze Dillner. Good job. We're going to get him to co-host. You and him up here. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
The Young Guns taking over here. Is it time to go to the Hyperco hotline? In just a minute, we're going to be joining in with Bubba Pollard, the winner Friday night, 5 Flag Speedway. 5 Flag Speedway, by the way, the place to be this Friday night as well as the Southern Super Series and the Blizzard Series. Come to town in the track at the Panhandle of Florida. Going to be a good show down there. If you can't make it, and we hope everybody that is within a few hours driving distance can get down there, you'll also be able to see the race live on speed51.com if you are a premium subscriber. Let's go to the Hyperco hotline where Bubba Pollard is standing, sitting, whatever he's doing. What are you doing this morning, Bubba?
I'm not doing much of anything this morning. It's a rough Monday morning. Long weekend.
Long weekend, but you did get to celebrate with one victory. How was that on Friday night?
It was good, especially after coming off, we feel like a tough weekend at Berlin, a place where, we've been good at in the past and we really struggled, and we felt like we needed to go to the racetrack. Really wasn't planning on running the pro race at Pensacola or Montgomery, and, it's close to home, and we felt like we struggled at Berlin and needed to get our program back on the right track, and taking a weekend off is not how you do it. So we wanted to go race. And I felt like we did that on Friday night. We had a real good race car, and then Saturday, not too bad at all, but the 81 made us kind of look a little silly there at the end. So part of racing, but all in all, a good weekend.
What about Pro Late Model racing makes you so good, makes you so successful at it? I mean, at one point you went over a year without losing a Pro Late Model race.
I don't know. It's just we've been fortunate to have some good success the last couple of years in the pro car. Seneca Performance has built us a good race car. It's been good everywhere, all over the country. So, we're happy with it. I guess a little experience all these years is the biggest thing, I guess, that we can carry over into it. So, we have a lot of fun doing that. I have a great group of guys that, want to go racing each and every weekend, and that's what it takes to run up front is have good people behind you, and I feel like our team right now is capable of winning just about anywhere we go, and great people, you get results.
Hey, you kind of alluded to the fact that the 81 car with Colby Howard, that Anthony Campy Racing team, waxed you guys at Montgomery Motor Speedway on Saturday. I understand there was a protest filed from you on behalf of checking out that Anthony Campy Racing number 81. What can you tell me about that?
Well, yeah, it's nothing against Anthony Campy Racing. They have a great program, great race car drivers. They're hard to beat. That's a great team, great organization. They lead it well. They do a great job. They have fast race cars. You know, as you know, I don't race pro racing much. We try to hit some of the bigger events, but as you watch, you know, I still, you know, keep on in contact and watch things. And when you get to the racetrack and qualifying, and a few cars sound different than your car and a lot of others' cars, you know, it raises your eyebrows and it raises your attention to of some opportunities that are going on. And you know, that's the biggest thing is you know, we all have to turn 6300 in the crane distributor ignition box, and you know, their car just sounds a lot different than a lot of the other cars on the racetrack, and you can really point it out during qualifying. And what it does is, I feel like, did he outrun us Saturday night because of that? No. But as a competitor, you know, I want to feel like you know, we're all on the same playing field, and I want to get to the bottom of why his car sounds different than our cars when we hit the chip. So to explain to everyone how it works is, you know, really, you know, we're pulling the same gears pretty much. You know, everyone's really close. And, you know, when you hit the chip, it cuts out cylinders. Well, I just feel like, you know, for instance, for example, you know, I feel like mine's maybe a hard touch where it maybe cuts out all cylinders when his, I feel like, cuts out on maybe 4. So he just sounds different, softer touch box. And I feel like we need to get to the bottom of it. There's been, you know, not only me, it's been you know, it's brought to my attention by not only me, but other competitors. And I just happened to finish second, and he won the other night. So I got the opportunity to do it, and I think it's cool for short track racing. I think I didn't want to get on social media and whine and cry and bitch and say he you know, cheats and this, that, and the other. We'll just take care of it. I feel like I was supposed to be. And, you know, if someone has a problem with my race car, I would feel like they would do the same to me. So it's nothing against those guys. I think it's good for short track racing. He should feel, you know, honored to have his race car protested, I think, you know, and that's cool. I would want somebody to do it to me if they thought I was cheating. So, you know, we'll see how it goes, see where it lands from here. But just nothing against those guys. Anyone to get on Facebook or social media and bullet eye proportion. That's not what it is. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and that's the best thing, honestly. You protest something like that, and hopefully it's proved legal, and then you can go, guess what? You know, got beat fair and square. But I can tell you, as a car owner, and I wasn't at Montgomery Motor Speedway, but I used to listen and watch and try to learn, and I saw people doing stuff, and you would get ticked off, and you would say, honestly, as a car owner, if they win, I swear, if I finish second, I'm going to protest them because I think something is wrong. Or something is different. So that's just part of the game, part of making sure that everybody is on the level playing field, not in terms of ingenuity on things that you can do with suspension and so forth within the rules, just making sure that everybody is good. So we'll see what the outcome is that from Saturday night at Montgomery Motor Speedway for the Show Me the Money series. Do you like what they did this past weekend, Bubba, by the way, with 5 flags and Montgomery Motor Speedway and try to do a little bonus in terms of, you know, winning both races or whatever it may be, because it seems like those two tracks are really trying to work together.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's we're going down the road and you're spending money to get to these racetracks and to run 2 nights a weekend. It just helps out on the cost, experience, things like that, you know, to just race more, you know, as long as it don't hurt either track. I think it's great. I'd like to see a lot more tracks and promoters get together and do that. We're going up and down the road anyway, so you might as well have another race. You see it all the time in dirt racing. Travel from track to track is up to, you know, 3 nights. So I think it's awesome. I think it's good. Hopefully they can continue it.
So we're watching the highlights from Friday night on the Speed 51 network, and me and Mark were talking about this on our way back to Charlotte from Virginia, but how are you able to make that move around Conroe Crescent on the outside? I mean, with a track like 5 Flag Speedway, it seems like you're one of the only drivers who's able to do that.
Well, just, you know, being patient. Those guys jumped out there, you know, a good 2 seconds ahead of us, and being patient. saving our equipment, saving our tires is the biggest thing. Bob, y'all know that there. That's a place that you really have to be conservative and save, and you have to have a good turning race car. It's tough to jump to the outside like that, but sometimes it's not as hard as it looks because people automatically think you're going to go to the bottom. You look to the bottom, and they think, well, I just got to keep him in the bottom, and he can't pass me. Well, if you got a good race car, as long as they keep thinking you can keep him in the bottom, you can go around them on the outside pretty easy. So sometimes it's not that easy, but it's fun. It's just one of those places I enjoy racing, love to go to, and just fits my driving style, I guess. So we always have some pretty good race cars down there, and hopefully we can keep it going throughout the year.
Hey, so I don't have my timetable possibly right, but I want to know, where are you with the baby watch stuff coming up?
Right now, it's close. It's close. We're going to the doctor tomorrow to see how everything goes. Hopefully, we can make it to the Blizzard race this weekend, but just not sure yet. See how it goes. Hopefully it's soon.
When is she due, actually?
It's actually July 4th.
Okay.
But with some problems, some blood pressure problems and things like that, they're going to take the baby early, possibly. So, it's kind of next. Just waiting on them to tell us when, really.
Well, we definitely wish you the best, and we'll be thinking about that for sure. Once the baby comes, are you taking some time off? I mean, what is it going to be going on in the world of Bubba Pollard?
Well, unfortunately, she married a race car driver, and we just can't afford to get behind. And we're going to keep racing. We're going to do some dirt racing. We're going to run Slinger Nationals here in a couple weeks. Excited about that, to get back up there and race with those guys. We're going to keep racing. Hopefully we can win and take care of the baby too.
Do you know what else is on your schedule in terms of some of the bigger races? I know there's been talk about going back to Oxford, about doing the Milk Bowl. What else do we have in store for everybody out there? What can you confirm for the fans that want to see you racing?
Yeah, we're excited to go to the Slinger. Like I said, possibly if we can do some testing while we're at Slinger at Kakano, we're going to do the Dixieland 250. That's up in the air, but very possible. We're definitely going back to Oxford 250. Oh man, that's just a great race. We really enjoyed last year. Even if we didn't win, it's a cool place. They've done a great job with that race. So we try to support that. But just some of the bigger events. The late model stock deal at Martinsville is hard not to go to this year. 32,000. Man, it was a tough race last year. Close. Fathead and Jamie Yoke gave me a good race car, and we'll see if we can't do it again this year and have some fun. I really enjoyed that racing against those guys, and it's a race I'd like to try to win someday.
What do you think about that race and that announcement last week? Now paying $32,000 to the winner, $5,000 for the pole. We have a question coming in on social media about that right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think they've done a great job. I think it's one of those things. They've seen I'll just put it out there. They've seen the Cars Tour go to 30,000 or whatever it was to win, and I feel like they had to step their game up and to be the richest and biggest short track late model stock race around. So. I think that was a little bit of that going on, but that's good. That's what short track racing needs: someone stepping up and putting it together. I like the heat races the way they were, but over the years I hadn't done that much at Martinsville, and I know last year it went well, but it can be a place that can take some of your top contenders out at the same time. So we're used to qualifying. It'll be a good race. It'll be cool. It was a lot of fun last year. Hopefully we can have a good run.
So over the past couple of weeks on the Bullring, we've been talking about like asphalt versus dirt with the pay. And Peyton Sellers at the press conference actually mentioned, like, with the dirt late model dream, you have the $125,000 payday, but they don't pay very far back. And then with the Martinsville 300, they pay, I think it was $4 or $5 grand to fifth place. So as a dirt racer, give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm. You always want to see, those big paying races, but I'm kind of I'm all for spreading the money throughout the field. Yeah, it is cool to have those 100,000 to win races, but I think it would be cool to have a 5,000 to start. That would be. I think you see more cars. My personal. You're always going to see the bigger teams there, but if we can get more cars, put on a great show, give those guys an opportunity to make some of their money back just to start the race, I think it'd be huge. So, I'm kind of show the love through the field kind of guy. So, whatever puts those race cars, at the racetrack and the fans in the stands is what we need to do.
And I want to address something here because, of course, there was an announcement made earlier this year about the Short Track Alliance, Bubba Pollard, myself, Chris Dilbeck, and a lot of other racers from around the country, and there hasn't been a lot said after that. There's a lot of conversation going on, some emails and so forth. It's nothing that we're going to be very boisterous about. However, Bubba, with you on the Baby Watch and racing, and me with my TV and Speed 51, and Chris with all his businesses, we really haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of things. We're hoping here in the next couple of months we can certainly get more out there, but a lot of good dialogue and conversation and so forth, and I know we're looking forward to that, Bubba.
Yeah, the feedback has been great. It's been awesome. We've been really busy the last couple of months, and this is something that's going to take time. It's not going to happen this year or overnight or anything like that. But if we can get short track racing better, get people's opinions, get input, and I'm all the time, and Bob, we're all of us are all the time talking to people, and we're not here to. We want to make everyone involved and aware of what's going on, and hopefully we can make it better. That's the first step, is just trying, putting ourselves out there to make some of this happen. So yeah, I'm excited about it. We've got some good input, good feedback from everyone, and hopefully it's a slow process, but in the end, hopefully it'll be better.
Hey, dude, are you out in the porch right now? Because I hear the birds are chirping in the background.
Yes, I am. I am.
That is awesome. No, dude, that's great. I wish I was out in the porch right now. We need to build us a porch on the front end of this building and just sit out there and do the show. It would be much better, honestly. But, Bubba, we appreciate you coming on the show. Congratulations on that win, and good luck with the baby. We'll be thinking about you. Keep us updated. I mean, not too updated, obviously, but keep us updated and to see if we're going to see you Friday night or not at Pensacola.
Well, sounds good. I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can be on again soon and win some races. So thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Bubba Pollard on the Hyperco hotline here today on the Morning Bullring, and Baby Watch. Bubba going to be a daddy for the second time.
Oh, yeah. It's always cool to see his family out there at the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's time to take a little bit of a break. We got a lot more to talk about. Let me see, honestly, while Mark cues the music, he's got the music running, and now he's waiting for me, trying to find out who's coming up next. Eddie McDonald in the house from New England. Carson Ferguson, Michael House from Nashville, all coming up on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes. Just a meathead. Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The Ultimate Surfers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
"8:31 in the morning, the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. I'm Bob Dillner, and the guy alongside of me is Cody Geyer from Indiana. Second time in the chair. You getting more loose?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Just getting more used to being in front of the camera. And
I'm going to have to get you one of those, Red Bulls that Mark drinks all the time to get you a little bit more primed and ready to go.
I'll leave the Red Bull to him.
This is the most talking that Cody's done in a long time.
Well, yeah,
he's not a huge talker.
A little pressure on for sure. But we got a lot of comments coming in from social media. I've been looking at all of them as we go on, and a lot of shout outs. Jim Swan, thank you for watching. He always watches from South Carolina. So a lot of good people, Tim Walters and so forth, watching this morning here on the Morning Bullring.
And we got a question coming in on the Facebook Live from Larry from Wisconsin. Says, in the Midwest, I only hear late model racing. Is a pro late model the same as a regular late model?
No, it depends on where you are in the country, honestly, because what are you talking about? Are you talking about a limited late model? Are you talking about, a late model stock car, a pro late model, super late model? There's differences in different parts of the country, too, because a late model is a little bit different, up in the Midwest than it is, say, down here. When you talk about a late model down here, a lot of times in Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, you're talking about a late model stock car. Okay, so different chassis, different engine combinations, and we all know how messed up the world of late model stock car racing is with the engines around this part of the country right now. But just in terms of straight rail cars, pro late model, super late model, you're really talking about what's underneath the hood. So a pro late model can be a crate engine, 604, or it's always been a built engine with a 2-barrel. Okay, that's how pro late models began, actually, and then obviously it's a different situation with super late models with a spec engine or a full-blown, built motor. So all different ways, different parts of the country, everything is different. Heck, if you look at super late model racing out west, in regards to that style out there, for so many years it was perimeter cars. Okay, and just over the last, 3 to 5 years, they've changed their chassis to the straight rail type chassis. So, again, it's hard to answer it exactly, and I know I danced all over the place because a late model term is so different depending on what part of the country you're in.
I mean, it's great with all the late models, different kinds. I mean, you got, like in this area, you got the late model stocks. I mean, you got pro late models. Up where I'm from, you got outlaw super late models. I mean, it's cool that you have all that variety.
Yeah, and then you had like Jeremy Doss out west running a pro late model, and I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like an outlaw late model. It was just really nuts.
I thought that car was really cool. I mean,
well, speaking of pro late models, we'll go to the Hyperco hotline right now, where House is in the house. Michael House, defending pro late model champion from the Fairgrounds Speedway Nashville. Good morning to you.
How's it going?
I'm doing good, Just talking about short track racing on a Monday morning. Woke up a little bit too early, but, Mark Keeler kind of bosses us around here at Speed 51 a little bit, so we got to talk short track racing, which we love so much, and I know you do too, especially at the Fairgrounds Speedway Nashville.
For sure. Yeah, just fortunate to be able to race, every week now. So we was at Five Flags last week, so we'll be at Nashville this week and hoping for a good run.
How'd that go for you at Five Flags Speedway this past Friday night?
We had a good car. Ended up having a flat, right rear flat, and led a couple laps and fell back like 5th or 6th, and then ended up the result of that was a right rear flat. So,
well,
I don't know. Was hoping for a little better run, but we're just now starting to venture out of Nashville. Thanks to Jonathan Brown for allowing me to do that. So, hoping to venture out a lot more. And we was wanting to go to Montgomery, but a small mechanical issue allowed us not to do that. So.
Well, we've had terrible luck with Mother Nature at Fairground Speedway Nashville. How excited are you to get back racing there as the defending champion?
I mean, just really blessed. I'd race every night if I could, but as y'all know, I mean, it seems like every time we show up there this year, it seems like it's raining, or even when the CRA comes, we had that tri-sanction race there, the super race there earlier this year. It rained, and so just really fortunate to be able to race there. And like I said, U.S. Tank and Jonathan Brown's allowed me to do that. So.
And I want to know, you ran that super race there. Are we going to see you run more super stuff this year as well outside of the pro realm?
Yeah, Bob, we're going to run the next super race we're going to run is the Montgomery race coming up July 6th at Montgomery. So we're looking to hopefully have a good run there. So.
I saw a little tweet there, talking about your new super late model ready to go and test and so forth. I got to ask you because, we're always so busy at the racetrack, bouncing back all over the place. Where does this paint scheme come from? Because to me, it looks like the old Rick Mast paint scheme from years ago in the Cup Series.
Yes, sir. It actually, we kind of did it as a throwback scheme, and then I've always liked that scheme as a kid, and I got a lot of old school in me. So, just being around Sterling a lot here, and I really like the old school stuff, and I really like that scheme, and I talked to Rick a little bit here and there, and so kind of got his blessing on it. So really like it, and so I just kind of kept it, and I didn't have it on the Pro Late model this past week, but I'm probably going to keep it on the Super and probably bring it back on the Pro here before too long.
Hey, what is U.S. Tank, by the way?
It's a cryogenic. They build aluminum tanks and supply cryogenic tanks to different companies throughout the America. They travel all the way to California. They have 3 trucks that run full time. So they build cryogenic equipment.
You said you've been working around Sterling Marlin for a while. So how is it working with him?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, you're not going to meet more of a racer than him. And he is just all about racing and do anything to help anybody. So he's a great guy.
Yeah, we're definitely hoping for a speedy recovery for Sterling. I know he's been having to overcome a lot. Just getting back to this weekend at the Fairground Speedway Nashville, only the second race of the year for Pro Late Models because of all the trouble with Mother Nature and so forth. What's special about running that place?
Just the history there, Bob. I mean, just you look at so many people that's come there and been successful, and, the Sterlings and the Mike Alexanders and I mean, let's not forget, like Willie Allen. I mean, he's helped me a lot there, and just everybody that's come in there and just raced there, Earnhardt's, and just everybody. It just makes it just all the history,
What does it mean to you to be a Fairground Speedway Nashville champion?
It means a lot. I mean, I can remember going there as me and my dad as a kid, and so to look back and to look at all the good times there we've had, and now to be a champion. I mean, I just can't put in the words how much that means to me and everybody that helps me, how much it means to us. So.
We're looking at some footage from the race in May, North versus South Challenge at Fairground Speedway Nashville, and you had some trouble in that race. That was a bummer because you were running really well. But might we see you, do the All-American 400 this year, maybe the Snowball Derby, something else in terms of the Super World?
Yes, sir. We're gonna try to hit about everything we can. I'm not sure about the Derby yet. We was there for the Snowflake last year, but we didn't come back due to the rain out. We already had plans, and so we plan on running everything we can. So it's kind of up in the air on the Derby, but probably gonna run the All-American in the Super, and we're gonna play the Super race by ear.
Very cool. Well, Michael, we wish you the best of luck this weekend in the Pro Late Model race. We'll be there live with Speed 51 for premium subscribers only. We'll have that live video stream from Nashville live on Saturday night.
Everybody should tune in because it's going to be a good show.
Thank you. Michael House, Pro Late Model Champion from Fairground Speedway Nashville, joining us on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. By the way, and Brandon Paul just sending me this note. This is pretty cool. Claire Formosa from the Speedway let us know this last week. The past 5 Pro Late Model champions at the racetrack will be competing this weekend. Now, a couple of them have won a couple of times, okay? So Cole Williams will be racing this weekend. He's won the championship twice in the past 5 years. Also, Casey Roderick is going to be there, and Michael House. So all 3 of those drivers will be competing this weekend, this Saturday in Nashville, Tennessee. Hashtag NASCAR to Nashville. We would love to see Cup Racing or something from NASCAR return to that legendary facility. And, of course, the All-American 400, the first weekend in November. You're going to check that out. Hopefully, come on down, fill the fairgrounds, and have a good time. It's the day after, actually, the on-track action starts the day after Halloween. So we're planning a little Halloween bash downtown Nashville. That could be scary. Racing people downtown Nashville with costumes.
I was just gonna say they got to have costumes if you're gonna do it.
You never know what you're gonna expect there.
Yeah,
right there.
that could be not suitable for all ages, knowing race car drivers.
So Cody, you'll be 21. You'll be fine. Anyway, we'll be right back here on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
Just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The Ultimate Supers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the Unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Oh, we're marching through the show this morning. We're already way into our second hour here on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. And I just love the fact that we have like 4 dirt late models on the desk, and Kendra Adams' car as well. Kendra will actually be at the APC race at Ucasa this weekend, so she'll be covering that for Speed 51.
I mean, APC series puts on a really good show. I mean, I'd like to go see them some point. I mean,
So you want him to be flown up to? Is that what you're trying to say?
He's trying to
Well,
tell you
not this
something.
weekend.
He's
I don't
like
have a
subtle. I
passport,
can't
but-
tell Cody Geyer yet. That dry, sense of humor. I'm like, is he joking? Does he really want to go, or what?
I mean, at some point, but
He wants to
It's
go to
just
everything.
Yes,
I've
he
learned,
does.
though,
Yeah.
which isn't bad to have.
You got to go back to school in the fall, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only one more year, so
That's right.
it ain't
You
as
just-
bad.
Transfer to UNC.
I need money.
Okay. You thought about it though.
Yes, he did. He did. Well, we'll keep you up there for another year at least to cover some of the Midwest racing. And speaking of Midwest racing and a great show, the Milwaukee Mile for the ARCA Midwest Tour sounded like a great show. I have to admit, when I got home at 6:30, and Blaze can be right there with me. Blaze, what time did you wake me up yesterday?
I think it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I never do that. Ever.
And you give me such a hard time.
Dude, well, I got home at 6:30 a.m.
True.
And I hadn't slept for over 24 hours because I had to fly from Wisconsin to North Carolina and then drive to Virginia and then back to North Carolina. And I got like 2 hours of sleep the night before. So honestly, I was shocked. Like he told me, he woke me up, him and the boys woke me up yesterday. And I'm like, what time is it? He's like, 1 o'clock. And I'm like, what? And he started smiling. And sometimes when Blaze smiles, he's kind of like Cody. You can't tell if he's joking or not, And I'm like, he's like, no, it's really 1 o'clock. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm happy for you. See, you're starting to learn why I enjoy it so much. I have a bone to pick with the next person that's on the phone, though, speaking of sleep.
Uh-oh. On the Hyperco hotline is Zach Evans. What is the bone to pick this morning here?
Well, he woke me up last night at like 7:30. I finally got to sleep because, I come in very early in the morning. So I had just gotten to sleep and my phone rings and I answered it. Zach talked to him for like 5 minutes, put the phone down, and I sat there staring at the ceiling for the next about 4 hours. I could not get back to sleep.
Way to go,
thanks,
Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Whoops. Yeah,
It's all good.
I'll hold my hand up on that. But, hey, sometimes you have to ask really stupid questions. And
I'm the
one
perfect person to ask him to, so.
Yeah, well, I was going to say.
If the shoe fits.
That's right. All right, Zach, what did you think of Milwaukee? What was your first taste, your first impression of that event, the racing returning to that legendary racetrack?
It was honestly incredible. The racing was great. I honestly didn't know what to expect going in with such a large track with those cars. It ended up being honestly an incredible race. But even all the divisions really put on really great racing throughout the day. The crowd support was phenomenal. Even qualifying, single car qualifying, sometimes we like to complain about how boring single car qualifying can be, but the fans were on their feet making noise. They went nuts when Ty Majeski set a new track record. It was just really an awesome event all around.
Might help if I turn the mic on, but that's a
That's $1.
But it's the Midwest is just especially in Wisconsin with their super late model racing. It's really just an atmosphere that is hardly replicated anywhere else in the country.
And I definitely got a good taste of that this week. I wasn't just at Milwaukee. I got to go to Money in the Bank at Berlin last Monday. We talked about that on last week's show before the race. And also went to Wisconsin International Raceway on Thursday for the Red Race, the opener for the Red, White, and Blue Series. And that was a great crowd there for a Thursday night show as well, and also put on some great racing. And you're right. It's really an incredible atmosphere at all of these places. You could tell that people in this area really love their super late model racing.
So you're scheduled to fly home at 2:30 today. Are you telling me you want to stay up there? How would you describe the difference in the super late model or late model culture up there compared to where you're used to, which is the Southeast?
Honestly, the thing that jumps out to me, especially specifically with the super late models, is there were guys that, maybe you didn't hit all three, but we're at Berlin Monday, and then we're at Milwaukee Sunday, or we're at Wisconsin Thursday, and then Milwaukee Sunday, and even guys that were at other races that I didn't go to, like at State Park or wherever throughout the week, and we're at Milwaukee Sunday. And there isn't, you have a strong contingency of these super late models, and they just want to race. They just want to be at the track, and it doesn't even matter how many cars are there or what the payout is. They want to race. It's in their blood. And then afterwards they want to have a good time too. Even walking through the grid before qualifying at Wisconsin on Thursday, they had a little delay. Unfortunately, there was a mechanical issue, slicked down the track, so they had to clean it up. You're walking up and down the line for pit road or for qualifying, and they're talking about everything but racing. They're just having a good time. They don't mind at all that they're getting held up by this cleanup. They're happy to be at the racetrack.
So, Zach, coming on here to ask you a very important question. How many cheese curds, since you were in Wisconsin this weekend, did you eat?
Let's see. There was the order I had or shared with your dad at Madison.
Shared, or did he have it all?
He ate most of it. Let's
right
be
under
real.
the
Your
bus.
dad is a huge cheese curds fan, but I think the grand total was 3. I didn't keep a very accurate running tally, but yes, the cheese curds are a very important part.
He's talking
of the Wisconsin
orders, not
experience.
cheese curds, Mark.
Well, it's Zach, so I didn't know. And when he said 3, I'm like, if you only had 3 cheese curds, then you need to come back because you're not enjoying
That would have
it.
been disappointing if I literally just had 3. Yes.
No. The entire state of Wisconsin would have kicked him out of the state earlier if he only had 3 cheese curds. So, the funny thing is, and I'll say this, and you guys will enjoy this for all of you who know Zach. Zach's a good guy, very straightforward. So, on Friday, we're at Madison for the ARCA race. And prior to going to the racetrack, we figured we'd have some lunch. So we went to this place recommended by Kevin Ramsell in Stoughton, Wisconsin. And Alex Hayden from MRN, and he was doing our MAV TV broadcast, was there. And Alex orders this, club something. I order fish, And what do you think that, with all this immense menu, what do you think that Zach Evans actually
I can
ordered?
guess.
Go ahead.
It's chicken tenders.
Yes. And the funny thing is, he's sitting there, and the waitress came to him once, and then he, delayed, and I had to take over and order my order, and then she went back to him, and he delayed, and then just ordered chicken tenders. Zach, what's the deal?
Listen, is it necessarily the best thing on the menu? No. But sometimes, especially with these races, you don't know where your next meal's got to come from. Not
or where the bathroom's going to be.
Or where the bathroom's going to be. And you just got to play it safe and eat something that maybe won't be great, but shouldn't be terrible and won't be a complete gut bomb.
So are you itching now already to get back, and you haven't even left the upper part of the Midwest?
Oh, I am. And I was actually talking about that with Patrick Hahey as we were eating dinner last night. There's so many races that, I got a good taste of the experience this weekend, or this week rather, but, there's still so many big events up here in the Midwest, like an Oktoberfest. I haven't been to Oktoberfest yet. And of course that was, with it being the Midwest tour there this week at Milwaukee, they were promoting that heavily. And, that just made the itch even stronger, I got to get up here for Oktoberfest. But, we'll see. Time will tell how the calendar all falls together and stuff. But definitely an incredible experience, and I'd love to get another shot at it.
So you went to 3 different tracks, actually 4 different tracks.
4.
Within the last week. You went to Madison. You went to Kaukauna. By the way, you called it Wisconsin. They just call it Kaukauna up there. So you went to Madison, Kaukauna, Milwaukee, and Berlin. Okay, so you went to 3 racetracks in the state of Wisconsin and 1 in the state of Michigan. I'm going to put you on the spot here, and you're going to have haters now. What was your favorite one?
Oh, no. Why would you do that?
Because I'm mean.
That's payback for throwing him under the bus with the cheese curds.
That wasn't. No, that's not how that works. From, I guess, the Berlin was.
This is like his chicken tenders order.
Berlin was an incredible facility. I think from that standpoint, it was probably far and away the best in that regard. But as far as, the racing, I don't know. The racing at Milwaukee was really good.
Pick one. Come on. Don't be political. You got it. This is about stating an opinion. It's just yours. It doesn't mean it's right.
Well, probably the most fun I had on the trip was Kaukauna on Thursday.
I mean, I've been
there.
I mean, I've been to Kaukauna before. I mean, I went there last month for the Tundra race, and it's a really unique facility. It feels like you're in the 80s or 90s because they have a radio and it sounds like a radio broadcast. And then you got the dog leg, and where you're sitting at, it looks like the cars are coming directly at you, which is one of the coolest parts about my trips every year.
I was telling Zach the other day that Buddy Baker and I were in the booth at Kaukauna doing an old ASA National Tour race. I've also done one on pit road there. So I've been to Kaukauna several times. I've actually raced at Kaukauna before. I've been to Madison. I've been to Milwaukee. I've been to Berlin. My favorite out of all of those, honestly, and every year I'm reminded of this, I fall in love with pavement racing again when I go to Madison, because Madison has the sound, okay? Even with the Arca Menard series and their stock cars, they have that sound where they have to lift. They're on the throttle. They have to lift. They're under severe braking. They lift. They get on the gas. Sometimes they have to burp it in the corner. And that sound right there at Madison each and every year revitalizes my love of pavement short track racing.
It's always fun at one of these races. I see it more at a couple of the late model stock races, specifically Martinsville. But it's always fun to me when the drivers talk more about having to save brakes than save tires.
Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's just one of those deals. So you experienced a lot. I'm glad that you had a good time. Now get your butt back to North Carolina and get back to work.
I will take that under consideration. I'll see if I can work that into my schedule.
Hey, where are you going this weekend, by the way?
I believe, I'm not 100% certain on this, but I believe it's me and Tommy going to Nashville.
That's right. That's right. You get to be there live. You're going to strum a guitar. Can you play a guitar?
No.
Okay, here's your challenge. Here's your challenge. I want a picture of you on our social media, not doing an air guitar, but doing an air guitar with the guitar trophy that they got. How about it? Tom, that's your mission. Nope, it's got to be done. Tom, he's shaking his head yes. So it's going to happen. All right. Zach Evans on the Hyperco hotline talking about racing in the Midwest. We got more dirt racing and more pavement racing to talk about in the final half hour here of the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. Remember, go to hypercoils.com and find out all about what Hyperco has to offer.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes. It's just a meathead. Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The Ultimate Supers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the Unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Oh, Nelly, 30 minutes to go here in the morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. I'm Bob Dillner, Cody Geyer, Tom Ryan, the quiet one in the house that usually does the sprinkler. We've seen that twice already on the air here.
Singing today.
Mark Keeler, yeah, he was singing. Not well, but singing. And then, of course, the Bullet Blaze Dillner. But right now, we're going to go right to the Hyperco hotline, and that's where Carson Ferguson, the big winner of the USA 100 Fast Track Racing Series portion this past Saturday night at Virginia Motor Speedway. Good morning to you, Carson.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Not as good as you because you won. But, this is funny, and I'm going to let people in on a secret here. Carson and I were texting late last night in terms of when he's going to come on the program. And he goes, well, I got a break from 9 to 9:15. So that's the time we got this morning. Where are you at, and what are you doing so early in the morning?
I work at a machine shop and running a laser machine. So just a normal day job. So I just started it about 2 weeks ago. But trying to help pay for racing.
So what do you cut with that laser machine? What are you doing?
Lately I've been doing rocker arm mounts for Penske and Hendrick and stuff like that.
So the big race at Virginia Motor Speedway this past week, let's just say that was very interesting. How would you put it?
Yeah, it was, we definitely were not the car to beat at all. The fastest car doesn't always win the race. Everybody knows that, but we were just at the right place at the right time, and you always gotta. Sometimes being lucky is better than being good. So that was definitely the case this past Saturday. But we haven't really ever been on that slick of a track before. It was different than what we were at whenever we ran there last year for the World Championships. But we struggled in qualifying, struggled in the heat race. I felt like I was rolling backwards down the straightaway compared to everybody else in the heat race, and it really threw us a curveball for the feature when the track rubbered up early in the super race. So I think everybody knew to put the harder tire on, but no one knew that it was going to blow out like it did. So I got up to 8th or 9th, and I kind of just stalled out there, and everybody started blowing tires, and I could feel mine going down, and then the crew motioned me to come in during the red flag. So we changed it. We changed the rear tires and made a small adjustment to the rear, and it kind of woke it up. And I used my stuff up coming through there, and once I got to Leighton, once I got to second, he was really the car. He was the car to beat at that point. So I had nothing for him, but like I said, sometimes better to be lucky than good.
Now, Carson, we just saw the finish here. On that last lap, what was going through your mind as you were coming out of turn 4 and realized that you have a shot in this race?
Yeah, every time you're in second, or if the leaders are racing ahead of you on the last lap or last couple laps, you're always like, man, please wreck. Or you're just praying for something to happen in front of you. And we went through, under caution, I could see his tires. I mean, there was like a slick on both of them, and he was driving it good, and they had the car dialed in, and I've raced with Leighton ever since go-kart, so it's a great family, and I really wish he could have got the win if I couldn't, but I was waiting for his tire to blow, but I wasn't trying to back up like the way I was driving. I was still driving hard, and like I said, he was way better than we were, but we went into 1 and 2, and it didn't blow, so I was like, man, it's over. And then we went into 3, and it still didn't blow. And I was like, well, I'll take a second. It was a good point tonight. And then I saw his left front tire lift up, and I saw his right rear go down. And it just fell right in my lap at that point.
Well, this is your third Fast Track win in a row after your first career win on Memorial Day weekend, and you've taken the points lead from that. What does this do for you going forward to the Fast Track World Championship at Virginia Motor Speedway in September?
Honestly, we didn't we learned what not to do, I guess, so that helped. But we're ended up. I guess we got a good baseline for what to go back, but we're going to go back another race before the World Championships and try a lot of stuff. So we'll see where that goes from there. But having a good points lead right now, and hopefully be able to open it up to where we can afford to miss a race or two. That'll definitely be a good barrier to lean on.
Now, Carson, you've been running on also Monday and Tuesday nights at the for the summer shootout, the Charlotte Motor Speedway. How does that and all this fast track racing doing helping you as you go along?
A legend car, I'm pretty sure you've heard some NASCAR drivers say it, but it's one of the most difficult cars to drive. So I mean, just the power to rate ratio and having to roll the throttle and just short track racing. You know, the dirt's helping me with the racing portion of the legend cars being more aggressive on restarts and kind of not getting flustered, but at the same time, the legend car is helping me on the asphalt, just being smooth and rolling the throttle and everything like that. So I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity to run the legend car. Like I said, it helps you in every way, just like the dirt does.
Could we see you run any asphalt races in the near future?
I'd love to, but I mean, if the door opens up to where I'm able to, then I definitely will. But with the lack of funding and everything on the asphalt side, it's kind of hard to go anywhere.
Hey, what about this fast track racing series? You know, obviously last year you won that big race, and you know, this year battling for the championship and so forth. You know, what are your thoughts there? You know, going after this title and what that would mean to you, obviously. But it seems like they have a lot of very highly competitive races.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people that come and run some of the races, and the biggest thing that would help us is you win $10,000 for a championship at the end of the year. So if we're able to run good every week and just, you're not ever going to make money in racing hardly, but if we can maintain and not kind of break even each race like we've been doing here lately, then it definitely helps a lot. And if we're able to maybe sell the car at the end of the year, get a new one, and win the championship, that'll definitely help a lot. And any little bit helps for a small team like us.
I saw your cousin Chris in Victory Lane come over and congratulate you. You got him one up on him from this past weekend. How much has he meant to your development on the dirt late model side?
Yeah, Chris and Brandon and his dad Brian, they really helped us a lot. And Brian gives us a baseline to go to the track and kind of sets us free. And I'll call them any day during the week, and they'll answer answer any questions that I have. So it's definitely good to have a reliable source that you know you can trust to give you good feedback as well. And then under caution, Brian was standing with my dad and on the infield, and then the last couple of laps, I was just kind of really giving up, or not giving up, but I knew I didn't have a real shot at Leighton. And then I think I was in about 6th or 7th at this point. I looked up and I saw Brian I saw Brandon, Chris, and then one of our sponsors standing there on the outside at the bottom of the bleachers, pumping their fist. So it definitely gave me some more initiative to go and not give up.
Is there any kind of friendly competition between you and Chris to get more wins?
I mean, we're racing on different levels. Obviously, the super late models is a completely different deal, and I mean we have good competition in a crate car, and you know, everybody's so much closer in a crate car, like field wise, but like speed, but just the drivers and everything in the super late models, it's hard to beat those national touring guys. So I'm looking forward to racing him in the 50,000 at the World Championships. And now that I have a good car, I had an older Warrior the last time I raced him, so I didn't really have a chance. But now I have the new Rocket XR1, so I definitely think we'll be able to battle.
Now, going on for the rest of the season, you came into this race already with the points lead, and then with capitalizing with the victory. How do you think that'll help you in your hopes to grab the title this year?
Yeah, like I said, anything we can do to build a buffer. It's always going to win. I've never been much of a points racer. I just go out there and win. Try my best to win every race. And, sometimes at the end of the season, I might not take certain big risks, but like I said, I always go for the win every time I get on the track. So, like I said, the tire deal, the Nick Schlager, he blew a tire with about 5 to go, I think, and that really, I knew that it was my chance to not mess up at that point and just really go for the win. So it was a good points night for us.
We were on 5 to go for what seemed like 45 minutes, honestly, as we were showing that race. And that race was live on Speed 51. More than 40,000 people tuned in to watch both the Ultimate Super Late Models and the Fast Track Racing Series for free by virtue of the two series coming together, Virginia Motor Speedway and ourselves, to show our commitment to regionalized dirt late model racing. But I want to talk about the Fast Track World Championship, $50,000. You talk about a championship with $10,000 would mean a lot to a little team like yours. What about that $50,000 on the line at Virginia Motor Speedway mid-September?
I have no idea what I would do on that. We appreciate y'all doing the Speed Live deal this past weekend. But the $50,000, I don't know. I just want to make the race. That would be a big deal to us. And then I definitely think if we test some more stuff and figure out, we can definitely be a contender for that. So I think there's going to be a few super late model guys that's going to come run with us, and of course the locals there are going to be stout, along with the Fast Track series followers. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I hope we can get away with the 50, but it'd be just a big deal to us to make it.
Watching you the other night before we let you go here, because I know you're almost done with your break, but I want to ask you about Virginia Motor Speedway. It wasn't the Carson Ferguson that I'm used to seeing race, honestly. It looks like you were really still trying to figure out that place even during the race.
Yeah, we really, really struggled with the car. And I was trying, when it rubbers up, you kind of got to drive it like an asphalt car. So I kind of thought I was going to have an upper hand, but at the same time, we didn't have a car where we needed it. But like I said, we know what not to do now, and I know what not to do as a driver now. So I think with the combination of me not doing good behind the wheel and us not having the car right, kind of made it a lot harder for us to get in victory lane. But like I said, right place at the right time and a little luck on our side.
Well, a big congratulations to you. We're going to get you out on time and back to work here, but we appreciate you coming on the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. Congratulations, Carson.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You got Carson Ferguson on the Hyperco hotline here this morning. And, that race was interesting because they did have some tires go down throughout the last part of that race. Because of that, it took out some big-time competitors, including the guy that was second in points, that was leading there with about 5 laps to go. It was an interesting scenario how it, just played out. Carson was very smart. He pitted earlier. It worked out for him because he had a right rear tire go down, and then he came back to win, exuding what he said was not patience at all because he didn't know how to run that track patiently. He was still on it, but I think that certainly played into how the race played out.
Yeah, with a race like that, you never know what's going to happen, and it turned out good for Carson Ferguson, and he picked up his 3rd straight win to pad his points lead.
You're looking forward to going back to the Virginia Motor Speedway sometime?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Tom Ryan's like, yes.
I'll tell you, we talked about food earlier and the whole cheese curd thing, and I will judge any establishment on the quality of their Philly steak. And Cody was actually laughing at me when I was eating it. That was one of the best I've ever had.
Really?
Not even at a racetrack, even at a restaurant. their food there was unbelievable. So the whole place was just top notch, top to bottom. But they have, if you like a Philly steak, get it at Virginia Motor Speedway. It was excellent.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Fast Track World Championship at Virginia Motor Speedway September 13th and 14th. Before that, Fast Track does go back to Virginia Motor Speedway mid-July, so we'll be there for that as well. It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you so much to everybody that watched on Saturday night. It was impressive, as Brandon Paul told us. It was of the people that told us where they were watching from, because there was a lot of people that didn't. 25 different states, 2 Canadian provinces, 2 other countries. That's impressive. More than 40,000 people. That's incredible. And that's what we wanted to do with this free broadcast, is just to enhance, what we do with the dirt side of racing, and to show how we are committed for sure to the fact that we love regionalized dirt late model racing. We're not paying attention to the new 2 national tours, other than providing these stories that they provide to us, because, that's not part of our realm. Other people cover that, and we respect that right there. So we look forward to going back to the Fast Track World Championship mid-September at Virginia Motor Speedway. Thank you to the Sawyer family, Dave C., and everybody there. Just a great, great day. And Tom Ryan, we have a new assignment, and everybody's going to be part of this. We're going to take a break here in just a second. But our new assignment, we talked about it, we didn't do it because we were kind of busy on Saturday night. But you know how Barstool, they go around and they go to a pizza joint, and Dave actually rates the pizza and so forth. We're not stealing that from him, because actually we started this before they started that with Casey LaJoy and the pizza, technically, at Watermelon Capital Speedway a couple years ago at Cordele, Georgia, with Harrison Burton. But we are going to go and test out track food. And we're going to do it in that same similar style, where people get to go and just order something and eat it. And if you got stuff coming out of your mouth, crumbs, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're eating wings, bologna burgers at South Boston Speedway, crab cakes at Oxford, whatever it is. We're going to do a little fun stuff on video in regards to the track food at every racetrack.
I like it. That means you're buying, right?
I know. No.
It was worth a shot.
You got to eat anyway.
I can't wait to get Connor on this. This
oh, my God.
That's Connor's out.
This has Connor written all over it. So I want to know, we're going to put up a Twitter poll. What foods at what racetracks do you want us to go and do this little segment at first here? Let us know here on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. We'll be back with one final segment this morning.
Speed 51's video network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
Just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The ultimate surfers.
Hey race fans, download the new Speed51.com app today. Breaking news, feature stories, the Unfiltered podcast, live race coverage, schedules, and more right at your fingertips. Download it today on iTunes and the Google Play Store.
Oh, down to the nitty-gritty here on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco. Bob Dillner, Cody Geyer, Blaze Dillner, Tom Ryan, Mark Keeler, all in Studio 51 this morning. And, of course, we are presented by Hypercoil. We appreciate them. Make sure you go to hypercoils.com. Check out that website. But when you go there, hit the Contact Us portion of the website. From there, racers can fill out their information and include where they race and what they race. Whether you compete in late models, modifieds, dirt, pavement, Legends cars, doesn't matter. Hyperco has products for you. For each of the next 2 episodes, the Morning Bullring and Hyperco will give away 1 set of 4 springs to a lucky winner. That winner could be any racer in the country as long as they fill out the contact form. With that said, racers can also go the distance to increase their odds by going to Hyperco. All they have to do is get on social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, post a picture of themselves and their car with the hashtag Hyperco and the hashtag The Morning Bullring. Actually, it's just hashtag Morning Bullring, and tag Hyperco to let them know you are watching the program. A set of coil springs to some lucky racer for going to hypercoils.com and filling out that contact form. They want to know where you race, what you race, and they appreciate the support that you give them. Folks, I'm Bob Dillner, and we just love talking to you each and every Monday morning. Make sure you check us out, 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. We appreciate everybody watching. Dave Cooper, I know, is actually watching, too, our new aerial specialist, providing some great shots from the drone, and we're hoping to bring him down to the Snowball Derby this year. So a lot in the works already for a lot of the big events a little bit later this year. Remember, become a premium subscriber as well today of the Speed 51 Video Network, just $9.99 a month, $79.99 a year. You can see highlights, feature interviews, packages, music videos, you name it, just for one subscription price, plus plenty of live races. Today at 5 p.m., we will announce the initial schedule for Summer Thunder TV presented by PFC Brakes. That'll be at 5 o'clock. More than 50 races already on the schedule in a 2.5-month period. Check it out on Speed 51 at 5 p.m. Let's go to the Hyperco hotline. How about this? First-time caller, Jana Wimmer. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Are you awake? Are you ready to go this morning, or did we wake you up when I texted you?
It is an hour earlier, so you guys have to remember that sometimes.
Oh,
but,
you got a couple
home
kids.
Late. It's okay. Yeah, they're still snoozing. We got home late from Milwaukee Mile last night, so it's kind of a lazy morning so far around the Wimmer house.
Hey, I want to know from, a girl that's in the Midwest who is now married into a very important family in the upper part of the Midwest in that racing realm. What was Milwaukee like? What did it mean when you covered that race yesterday? Your husband was there. What did that race mean to everybody in the Midwest?
Everyone is really excited about it. It was really cool. I mean, Chris used to race there, almost every year back, when we first started dating. Went to an Xfinity race there, watched my brother-in-law, and it was always just a really cool racetrack right there in Milwaukee on the fairgrounds. You can see Miller Park from the grandstands. Just so much history there. And then to have it, just sit there for a couple years and no one race, it was really neat to go back. All the racers were excited. You could tell by some of the drivers that made the trip. And then I think Ty Majeski said it best to me yesterday. He said, you never know when is going to be the last race here, so everyone wants to win every time they come here because you just don't know what's going to happen. So I just think there was so much excitement. A lot of fans came out. It was a little chilly yesterday up here, not going to lie, with the fans. But there was a really great crowd. I thought it rained in the morning. It was a little chilly, and for all the fans that came out, they saw some really great racing.
Well, I think your blood has thinned. That's what happens when you move south. And you were south for like 4 or 5 years before moving back to the upper part of the Midwest. I watched some of the highlights from the live stream. We'll have the highlights up tomorrow, the full highlights from the day's activities at the Milwaukee Mile on the Speed 51 Video Network tomorrow. But just watching some of the live stream, it looked like there was a lot of great racing going on. It looked like it was very entertaining.
Yeah, there really was. I mean, you would see there was definitely some free wide at times, and then a lot of pit strategy came into play. There weren't really any, there was the competition cautions that came about, but otherwise it was a really clean race. So you're always kind of wondering, when in that window, the competition cautions were going to come out. Some guys took their 2 tires early. Some guys, like Austin Nason, chose to wait, and that paid off for him. But Dan Fredersen took his early, but still managed to hang on for a top 3 finish. But they were 3 wide. Everyone was, racing hard, but racing clean. And on a big track like that, sometimes you think it just can get spread out, and it got a little spread out, but in packs. So there was always really good racing throughout the track.
And this week, obviously, a big race, Thursday night, State Park Speedway. The flip race this weekend, or this week, I should say. How are you gearing up for that race at State Park Speedway?
Yeah, it's always, the first of our big 3 memorial races that we hold every year. So really excited about that. Flip Merwin was a dear friend of the Wimmer family, so to be able to continue that race has been something really special for them. And we've already had a lot of interest from some super late models. I'm going to fill the beans here, a registration form this morning from Jacob Beatty, who I don't know the last time maybe he raced at State Park Speedway, but he's going to make the trip over from Minnesota, which is really cool. Heard some other names floating around of big guys who might come up for the night. So it's definitely one of our marquee events. It's a 4-tire show, obviously, and in remembrance of a great person. So we're all excited. We're excited to have our first big race of the year, really, because our Midwest tour, we had to reschedule that, which will now be with our Deachins race. But kind of our first big 4-tire show of the year, and we're looking forward to it.
So we had Zach Evans on the show earlier, and he's wrapping up his first trip up there in Wisconsin in the super late model racing, and he was just in awe of the atmosphere of it. And so you growing up in Wisconsin, just give me your take on the whole super late model atmosphere in Wisconsin.
First, I need to know if he got any cheese curds while he was here, because these are important questions.
He only did 3 orders the entire week in a couple days that he was there.
Oh, he had to have 2 a day.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's been really cool. There's so much history, I feel like, in Wisconsin. When you actually look at a list of active tracks in the state of Wisconsin, it's some of the most across the country. And you get a lot of the guys that, are very loyal to their local tracks, but then, you look at these big events that they can hold at the Milwaukee Mile and draw 30, 40 cars. Kakana had their red race on last Thursday, and they had 25, 26 cars. So there just seems to be still so much interest around here, which is great. I know some tracks are struggling with some car counts here and there, but there's a lot of series coming around, and the drivers just seem to really support a little bit of everything, which is nice. We have the Tundra Series with the Midwest Tour Series, and then we have a bunch of local tracks that race weekly. And it just seemed to be fun, and Milwaukee Mile I think it was great to kind of bring all those people together for the weekend. Everyone was so excited to go back there that it just drew so much interest from drivers and from fans.
Jana, we appreciate you coming on the Bullring here, presented by Hyperco. We're looking forward to that big race at State Park Speedway on Thursday night, so we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You got it. Jana Wimmer, always awesome to have her on the morning Bullring. I'm having problems with my button this morning. Mark reversed the button for me in terms of on air or off air. But
by the way, and I sound like a real foodie,
yeah.
but State Park has the best cheese curds I've ever had, hands down, in my entire life.
Oh, I'm going to have to get up there.
Unbelievable.
I need to get up to State Park Speedway in Wausau, Wisconsin. I've always wanted to. And I just want to go over some of the stuff that we got going on this week. Of course, the big announcement for Summer Thunder TV, presented by PFC Brakes. That comes at 5 p.m. today. I can tell you for the second straight year, and we got a great weekend planned for you in terms of racing on the network. So hopefully you go to a racetrack a day or two, and then you can watch some other live streams. But it will kick off for the second straight year Thursday at State Park Speedway with the flip race. So it's going to be a great show Thursday at State Park Speedway up in Wisconsin. But Wednesday, we have Millbridge Speedway, Outlaw Karts in action. Of course, the Firecracker 100 weekend, that's going to be a big weekend at Lernerville Speedway in Pennsylvania. And then we look to this weekend for sure, Five Flags Speedway on Friday night, Blizzard Series race number 3, I think it is. Is it number 3 or number 2, Mark? I can't remember. Anyway, the Blizzard Series Super Late Models, race number 2 at Five Flags Speedway. We go down the list a little bit. There's a lot more racing going on. Mountaineer Dirt Week for the Ultimate Mid-Ohio Valley region. That kicks off their season opener because they had trouble with Mother Nature. Their season opener in June for the Mid-Ohio Valley for the Ultimate brand of Super Late Model Racing, I-77 Speedway on Friday night. That's going to be a blast. We will be there for that. And then the Dick Trickle 99, Dells Raceway Park in Wisconsin. The Cars Tour, late model stock cars, are at Dominion Raceway up in Virginia. The Dirt Car Summer Nationals, the Hell Tour, just keeps on going and going and going. Mid-Ohio Valley once again at Florence Speedway in Kentucky on Saturday night. The ARCA Series Super Series and the Gold Cup, Flat Rock Speedway. That was rained out earlier this year. They're back in action. The ARCA Menard Series will be at Gateway. That's where I will be outside of St. Louis, Missouri. We'll keep on going down the list. Outlaw Late Models at New Paris Speedway. Of course, the New England Short Track Showdown at New Hampshire Motor Speedway will be Saturday and Sunday at that great racetrack in New Hampshire. A Southern All-Stars Series, the Dirt Late Models at Sanoa Raceway. Showtime Speedway has sprint cars. I'm sure Mark Keeler's folks are going to be there because they love sprint cars, especially on pavement. And then we keep on going down the list, and there's just so much going on, including the Big Show 11 for the Super Dirt Car Series next Tuesday at Albany Saratoga Speedway.
Got some great racing this weekend. You should always go out to see a track, but if you can't, we'll have your fits here on the Speed 51 Network.
And if you take a look at our schedule that's on our site right now, this is just the overall schedule of all the races that are around the country, or at least the bigger races. Not all the weekly racetracks have their dates on here. And, of course, you can see a lot of the video highlights and interviews and so forth from all the racing action all over the country every single week, but especially this past weekend with the Milwaukee Mile. We had the Wheelman Series in action. We had, of course, the Ultimate Super Late Models and the Fast Track Series at Virginia Motor Speedway, and a whole heck of a lot more, including the Grit Sportsman Series. The Canfields were up there checking out those dirt modifieds up in the Northeast, and they'll be busy again this weekend. Where are you going? I'm going. Got the button on you.
That's $2 today.
Well, at least it's not Bob with like 5.
Three.
You can't get any love
I'm going
this
to throw
morning.
a hypercoil spring at him.
Goodness. Those are metal.
Yes, they are. I picked the lightest one, though.
Friday night I'll be at Five Flags Speedway for the Blizzard Series. It'll be my first time at the track, not for the Snowball Derby, so looking forward to that. Then Saturday night, I think I'll be at Patriots Park Raceway in Georgia.
Ultimate Super Late Model Southeast are going to be in action there.
So we get both asphalt and dirt late models, and I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Mark Keeler's going to be in the same spot. Blaze has got a little family function this weekend, but fortunately, we're glad to have you back. Finally out of school. Don't you know that school's not that important?
Yeah, no, I was trying to get here, ditch school, but the exams, had them last week, so finally can come in this week. I'll be headed to Millbridge with Cody on Wednesday, though, at least, even though I'm not going to a racetrack this weekend, and looking forward to it.
That's right. Sister, my daughter, coming back. First time we're going to see her in a long time. She lived over in Italy. She's back in the States now, but we're going to be getting together with her this weekend. You've been watching the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. Where are you going, Tommy?
Nashville with Zach Evans.
Nashville, that's right. Nashville with Zach Evans. No cheese curds there, by the way. Zach Evans might be disappointed.
We'll go Wings.
Go Wings. Wings in Nashville, Tennessee. That race, too, on the Speed 51 Video Network. Thank you for watching. We'll be back Monday, 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. with the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. See you at the races.
Why?